welcome to the Rob Bro Show. I am Rob Bro. He's Carson Robinson. We are the hosts. I am the co-host. I'm the host. You are the co-host. I was trying to change it up there, and then I messed it up anyways. We are the hosts. You are the co-host still. You can comment and co-host today by getting in that comment section, the starting line, chat line. Starting line, chat line brought to you by Starting Line Counseling. We are here in the Diversified Lenders studio. We're already getting questions on the transfer portal. Let's jump right into it. Roy says, well, Bradley finally put his name in the portal. Why are us football fans thinking it's doomsday?
I don't know. That's a great question because, Jerron Bradley is a good player. Is he the kind of player that you just panic because this kind of player is leaving? No. You've got other dudes in that receiving room. And if he was, if he,
Do you?
Yeah. I
don't think you do. I think you're going to overhaul. Now, Micah Hudson's coming.
Coy Aiken's back next year. Micah Hudson's back next year.
Or he's coming.
He's coming next year. He's actually coming in a couple weeks.
Miles Price is leaving.
Yeah, Miles Price is leaving.
In the portal. The wide receiver room was not good this year.
No, they weren't good. And that's why I mean, you're going to go get a couple guys probably in the transfer portal yourself.
Yes.
So it's not worrisome to me because this is just how college athletics works. If a guy doesn't have a good season at a place where he feels like he should have had a great season, then it's not his fault. It's the people around him's fault. And he's going to go somewhere else to try and figure that out. Or some of these guys, they don't get the playing time. And so they want to go somewhere to figure it out. Like Miles Price this year, he got plenty of playing time when he was healthy. He just wasn't healthy all year long. He had some good moments, but it's not like you can't go and replace these two wide receivers with other two wide receivers. It's not like you're replacing a Michael Crabtree. It's not like a guy like that is in the transfer portal. If that was the case, then you'd be wondering, what's going on in that receiver room to make them want to get out of here. Yeah. But that's just not happening.
I think it's fair to say Bradley was a disappointment this year.
I agree. Yeah.
Now, he played with Tyler Shuck at the beginning of the year, and they didn't do much.
Yeah.
He had a drop against Wyoming. That was pretty costly. That would have been a great catch, but he didn't make. Mm-hmm. And then he played with an injured Baron Morton and couldn't get the ball down the field, and a freshman, Jake Strong, who could get the ball down the field, but just to the other team. So I think there are absolute understandable issues that went into Jerron Bradley having a disappointing season, but flat out from expectation to reality, he had a bad season. So,
and also you can go with the fact that he and Coach Juice didn't get along very well. That could be they could have two differing opinions on what a receiver room should look like in that regard too. So, it's not the same receivers coach that recruited him to come to,
or
that's just speculation. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm not saying there's any truth to that at all. Because I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard anything like that. I'm just saying that's an option that can be on the table for some of these guys that they don't see eye to eye with the guy that came in after they were recruited. It's not the guy that recruited them. And sometimes some of these kids, that's what they get hung up on. So in today's day and age, the transfer portal, guys are going to leave. Like that's just what's going to happen. Yeah. And college football fans, college basketball fans, college baseball fans are just going to have to come to grips with sometimes your quote unquote better players are the ones that are going to leave. Even if they get to play every snap of every game, they can leave. And that's just the way the landscape works these days.
Just to catch up, there are three players, three former starters, players who have started games in the portal.
Yeah.
Landon Peterson off the offensive line, which he had been passed, I think. And the offensive line isn't great, but he'd still been passed. And then you have Miles Price, the most productive on the list, I would say. Wells guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Jerron Bradley, Wells guy. Played a season with Wells, or redshirted, I guess, a season with Wells, and then played 2 seasons with McGuire. Was not great until the Oklahoma game, and then was just amazing, and everyone thought he was going to break out this season. I did too, me included.
Yeah.
Of course, I thought J.J. Sparkman would have a breakout year, and I think he had 2 catches.
Yeah,
I think
he
he's going
didn't
to
have
play
a
tight end next year.
year at all. Yeah.
So, look, I those 3 are in the portal. If I had my way, you probably process 3 or 4 more that have been previous starters in places. But
Yeah.
you're flipping the roster, and notice I said Wells guy, Wells guy, Wells guy. McGuire is going to fill out this roster with his players in the next year or 2. And that's going to be either guys transferring out or guys graduating out. And
Yeah.
one of the 2 ways it's going to happen quickly, and it's all going to be McGuire guys and transfers. And the sooner that happens, I think the sooner you get a little more deeper, a little more depth, and a little more talented, a little more deeper.
Yeah, I agree. And you go back to guys that are big time transfers. There's a 6'6" tight end, Rylan Goad from Mississippi State. He's in the transfer portal. He's a guy that Texas Tech probably has an eye on. He's a big tight end that has seemed to fit this offensive scheme for the Red Raiders. I wouldn't be surprised to see a guy like him. But you like the big guys. You like the big tight ends. He's a 6'6" guy. He was a 4-star or a 3.5 star to some guys, some recruiting services whenever he was coming out of high school. And he went to Mississippi State in the same style of offense that you run here at Texas Tech. Now, Mississippi State is not running that offense anymore. Yeah. So that's why he is probably leaving.
Jalen Conyers in the
Jalen Conyers in the transfer portal as well. West Texas kid who you missed on Matt Wells missed on whenever he was coming out of high school. Now, I think he was recruited by Texas Tech, but he went to Oklahoma and didn't play at Oklahoma. And then he went to Arizona State, had a pretty good last couple of years at Arizona State. So
I don't know why he's I don't know why he's in the portal, but I guess he want to play the Big 12.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe he decided if he's going to play in the Big 12, he's going to play for someone who's closer to his hometown, which would be Lubbock, Texas. He's from
Groover, to look at his stats.
Groover Greyhound. He was a quarterback in high school, but obviously not a quarterback.
He threw 6 passes this year
in the college game. Yeah, on little reverses or backwards passes. Yeah, I saw him in a couple games throw a couple. But I mean, he's a big kid. He's what you would want: athletic at the tight end position, physical. Guys like that are what I would look for in the transfer portal. Tobias Merriweather from Notre Dame is a wide receiver that's in the transfer portal. I don't know that he ends up at a Texas Tech. He's probably more looking at like a Florida State or a Big Ten school. But just guys like that are in the transfer portals. And those are guys that have been at Notre Dame, and he was a big piece of what Notre Dame tried to do too the last few years. But he's a grad transfer, and he'll get his pick basically of where he wants to go, I think, in the coming months.
TCU had a guy jump in the portal. I don't remember his name, but 4 or 5 star guy, 4 probably. Lots and lots of people in the portal, the transfer portal.
Yeah, and officially it doesn't open until the 4th of December, but I mean, it's already.
I think that's when people can commit out of the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Though there have already been somebody already committed to Vanderbilt.
Technically, that's when they can start recruiting. Yeah, it's already happening. I mean, Ashton Kozart's another wide receiver that you could look like. He's an Oregon kid. He was a 4-star recruit out of high school. Went to Oregon, is transferring out now because he didn't get to play that much this year as a freshman or sophomore. So, yeah, he's a guy that I would look at too if Texas Tech is on the march looking for a big time wide receiver or somewhere like that to go along with Micah Hudson.
Let's talk about that. Roy says, so starting lineup for wide receiver next year: Hudson, McCray, Aiken, and question mark. Right now, I would say and transfer.
Yeah, and transfer and tight end. Whoever your tight end is.
Brady Boyd would be the 4th receiver.
Brady Boyd is in that mix too.
And he only played against Texas.
Yeah, he redshirted. But he redshirted last year.
He redshirted this year.
Yeah, this year. Yeah, that's right.
Played last year.
That's right.
so he'll play in the bowl game. But if everything remains the same, Hudson, McCray, Aiken, Boyd could be your wide receiver room. Now you have Tyler King, you have some younger guys, you have more in the class this year who might get playing time if that's the case. But starter wise, yeah, that'd probably be your 4. But I would bet money you get at least one Power 5 transfer, Group of 5 transfer out of the portal at wide receiver.
Yes.
What are the other 2 positions you're looking for starters or more? Looking for starters out of the transfer portal.
Offensive line is one of them that you're looking for starter. Obviously the transfer portal is the best place to go solidify an offensive line. And that's what Texas Tech tried to do this last year with the guys like Rusty Stats and the like, but it just didn't work out where Rusty Stats was a Power 5 guy. He was a Group of 5 player his whole career until this year, and it just didn't work out coming to the Power 5. Now, moving him from center to guard was a better idea. At the end of the year, and I think that should have been the case early in the year because I think the offensive line did get better in that regard. But you'll go out and I guarantee you'll try and get a Power 5 offensive line transfer. There's plenty of those in the portal already that I'm looking at. A few of those that are actually just right down the road from you.
And I've seen
Texas A&M at Texas at other schools. So
I've seen a bunch of get offered already.
Yes, and there's plenty of guys
been offered by Texas Tech.
Yeah, and you could see a couple junior colleges as well. There's a few junior college offers on the table as well. 2 of them are defensive linemen. I could see you getting a defensive lineman in the transfer portal. Obviously, the skill positions, running back in the transfer portal could happen very easily because you've got to come up with somebody that can fill those shoes of Taj Brooks. Can Cameron Valdez do that? Can he hold on to the football enough to do that? I don't know. And then
there were rumblings that Taj might return. I don't think that's true.
That would be cool if he did, but I would not if I was Taj Brooks. I'd go ahead and just take my chances at the next level.
Unless Taj thinks he can't get drafted, which I think he can after this season.
Yeah, I think he'll get drafted. Now, there's some guys that say his game doesn't transfer to the next level, but
right.
Bouncing off of the first tackle transfers to the NFL. I'm sorry, it does.
In let's say in college basketball, it benefits you to return another year.
Yeah.
But in college football, maybe some positions it benefits you returning for NIL to get that money. But running back is not one of those positions.
No.
Running back, you got to go as early as you can, and I would capitalize after this season. Unless, you want to come back, I would absolutely welcome that back.
Yeah. I could see you going after a defensive back as well in the transfer portal. That seemed to be your thing that you've gone after the last few years is replacing some of these guys in the transfer portal because defensive back is the hardest position to play in all of football. Let's just be honest. It's the hardest position.
On. Now, you said 6 positions there. I asked for 2.
I said 3. Offensive line, defensive line, okay. and wide receiver you can throw in there too.
Wide receiver, and you said running back.
I said skill positions. Let's be honest.
If
you're going for
if you had to get a starter at 2 positions, we already talked wide receivers, so give me one on defense and one on offense. So offensive line is the next
offensive line is the obvious answer on the offense, and then I think the back end you've got to replace guys like Adrian Taylor Demerson.
AJ McCarty is a transfer who set out this year.
Right, yeah, he had to sit out this year. I think you get one transfer there just to solidify, especially if it's a Group of 5 guy that's had experience at this level. He's a grad transfer. He's got maybe a year or 2 left of eligibility.
I think Baskerville returns.
Yeah.
And then you kind of lucked into playing a bunch of freshmen.
Yeah, I mean, Luck's got some good time in. He had some really bad moments, but he did get PT.
Well, then you have Sanford, Jordan, and Chapman, who all played quite a bit. Chapman looks like Rabbit reincarnated a little bit.
Yeah, when he gets older, the next couple of years, he's going to be pretty good. But I think you still go get a guy that can solidify the back end for you.
You're going to have a young defensive backfield next year. I wouldn't mind going and getting a big old nasty defensive tackle. I don't know how I feel. I would rather just develop edge, I think, at this point.
Yeah, I think the kid that defensive tackle wise, the kid from Hutchinson Junior College is going to end up coming here. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's going to end up signing with Texas Tech in this early signing period here in the next couple weeks. That's coming up. What? December 11th. What day is early signing period, Rob?
December. It's that Wednesday. It's a Wednesday in December, right?
Yeah. Trying to remember what the date is. The 6th or the 13th?
I think it's the 13th.
13th, yeah. Okay. But either way, yeah, I think that you're going to see some of those guys. So then that'll dictate what you do in the transfer portal as well.
Roy says Jordan Brown. Yeah, he'll be back.
Yeah, Jordan Brown will be back. Yeah.
He could be a starter for sure.
Yeah. And Jordan Brown had some really good moments. I mean, the West Virginia game, you're not in that game late if Jordan Brown isn't there.
Yeah.
So he made some couple fantastic plays in the West Virginia game that gave you,
UCF
a chance. Yeah, UCF as well.
He had a drive that you only threw to him, and he got a bunch of plays in a row.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that Jordan Brown is going to be a good returner for you next year in the receiving core. And then adding a guy like Micah Hudson. I mean, if you haven't seen what Micah Hudson can do, and obviously it's against, high school talent on the back end, but Micah Hudson is just an animal when it comes to going up and getting 50-50 balls, making plays with his feet after the catch. He's a faster version of Michael Crabtree is what he looks like to me. He's not as tall as Crabtree, but the way he runs, the way he goes up and catches footballs,
who are you talking about?
Micah Hudson. Yeah. I'm trying to compare him to a Texas Tech wide receiver that people would remember.
That's a lot of hype there.
It's a lot of hype, but I
think signing day is the 20th this year, not
20th. Okay. Wow, that's right next to Christmas. I didn't think it was that late in the thanks, Benjamin.
Yeah, Jordan Brown. Yeah, we can't forget Jordan Brown is get after us.
Yeah, Jordan Brown.
Danny Saley is the defensive tackle you're talking about.
Yes, there you go.
He's listed as 6'2", 389.
6'2", 389.
On free. I've seen his weight. I've seen his weight a lot different than that. Previously committed to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Miami was in the mix. North Carolina State, Maryland, Arizona, Houston, as well as some other smaller schools. Pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good.
Pretty good. He's in this recruiting class, the 2024 recruiting class.
I mean, and then you look down this transfer portal. I'm just, skimming the transfer. Will Howard's in the transfer portal from Kansas State. Tyler Van Dyke
quarterback
from Miami. No, I don't know. No, because you have. Man, that's a tough question because you can't promise him a quarterback like a Will Howard or a Tyler Van Dyke, someone who's coming from a Power 5 school and is an older kid.
Yeah.
He's not he wants to come in and be assured that he's going to have a chance to be the starter, where I think the starting role is Baron Morton's to lose, and that by way is by injury.
I'm going to say this and then not elaborate and go to the next question.
Fair enough.
I would take a quarterback. Any worry for replacing the entire hopes of the wide receiver room on Mike as a true freshman? No worry, because I don't think you're going to do that. Again, you have Jordan Brown, you have Coy Aiken returning, who I thought had a really good season, was actually getting open.
Dre McCray had a good season late.
Dre McCray is coming back. And I think you get one or two wide receivers out of the portal. I don't think you're resting all your hopes on Micah Hudson. Will he be a day one starter? I hope so.
Yeah.
And if he's not, you didn't get what you were promised out of the recruiting class, because you're getting a top 20 class. Look, I I'm not saying anything negative here. This is just the truth, okay? These sophomores and above were part of, uh, 50, 60, 75th ranked classes.
Mm-hmm.
This is a top 20 class coming in. You're getting better. You're getting better players. The young players will play. You look at the secondary this year, it was a bunch of seniors. You had other players on the roster, but who did you play behind all those seniors? Freshmen.
Yep.
Because that's who you're recruiting to play. So if you get a 5-star kid and he comes in as your leading receiver, so be it. He's the most talented on the field, right?
And that's what
And
you do. You play the most talented.
You look at Ohio State and Michigan and all these places. There's always a really talented freshman, right, that breaks through at these places. You haven't been recruiting those guys. Now you are.
Yep.
Now you are. And offensively, Micah Hudson will be the first young player from a Joey McGuire class to play. But hopefully in the next year, you also play some of these offensive linemen that have been in the last 3 classes because you need to. Like a Caden Carr or Nick Fadig, who was in that first class.
Yeah, and that's, I think you saw a little bit of that too in the linebacking core this year with a Ben Roberts type guy who is a freshman, but they put a lot of trust in Ben Roberts at that linebacker position. And there was some instances where he looked like a freshman, but I think Ben Roberts, because of that ability to play as a true freshman, really just is going to make him a better defender. By the time he's a junior or a senior, Rob, he is going to be one of the best linebackers in the Big 12. I really think he'll be that good, because it's the experience that you get. It's the difference in skill level between a guy like him and the guys you've been getting, where they can't perform as a true freshman. They're just not ready. The game's too fast for them. There's a big difference between high school football, even state of Texas, where it's the best high school football you can possibly play at the highest level in the 6As and the 5As. You're talking about just teams that are full of D1 talent, and in some areas. But even then, it's not Division I Power 5 football. So a true freshman that can come in and play immediately and make an impact, like a Ben Roberts guy did this year
redshirt
at times. Yeah, redshirt freshman. Sorry, not a true freshman, but still.
Big 12 freshman of the year, though.
Yeah, Big 12 freshman of the year. And there's a reason for that, because guys like that don't just come around every year. It's hard to play as a true freshman. It's hard to play as a redshirt freshman, even that you've been in school for a year. So,
and that was a Matt Wells commit 3-star guy.
Yeah. And so now you're looking at guys that are 4-star commits and things like that coming in. So there's a big difference of what you're getting versus what you've got in the past. So now I'm not saying that 3 stars can't be underrated and become just, these fantastic players.
Yeah.
But it's a lot harder for a kid like that doesn't have the ability and everything like that in the high school rank to come and play immediately and be an impact immediately. But a Micah Hudson, he's got the talent to do so, and we'll figure it out. And there will be some growing pains, I'm sure, with Micah Hudson here at this level. He's not going to get open as easy as he did at the high school level.
Yeah, but who got open this year?
That's a good point. Coy Aiken.
Yeah, Coy Aiken.
Yeah, that's it.
So
Miles Price, whenever he was healthy, got open a few times.
Deep.
Yeah, McCray deep late in the season, started figuring out when he could throw it deep.
But Jordan Brown just didn't play much. So
yeah, Jordan Brown was hurt too.
I think there is some explosiveness in this wide receiver room. You just didn't see it this year. And some of that is quarterback. Some of that is wide receiver, but Micah Hudson has certainly proven his explosive ability at the high school level. We'll see if it translates.
Yeah.
But any worry? No, I'm not worried about Micah Hudson. I mean, Michael Crabtree redshirted and then was great for 2 years.
And Michael Crabtree was a 3-star recruit.
If he doesn't play year one, I'm not worried. Well, he's a quarterback in high school, so that's
true.
At the Carter,
Go Cowboys.
The Carter Cowboys, is that what it is?
Yeah, Carter Cowboys.
I did not know that.
You don't watch Friday Night Lights?
I did, but I was about to quote Friday Night Lights, but I didn't remember. I didn't remember they were the Cowboys.
Yeah, Dallas Carter is probably the most not talked about high school football dynasty back in the 80s and 90s in the state of Texas.
No, I've not paid attention at all to the high school playoffs. I saw Lubbock Christian's in the state championship.
Our alma mater back in the state championship.
I think the Final Four in the UIL?
No, I think you're in the quarterfinals of the UIL.
Eight left.
Yeah, 8 left.
The high school with the weird name is still in it.
With the weird name, you're gonna have to be more specific with that. Is it a Houston?
They have blue uniforms.
Still doesn't help.
Anyways, Estacado
weird,
lost, so I haven't
with the weird name. You talking about a Tascasita down in Houston, or are you talking about?
It's not a weird. It's not a weird. It's not a weird city name. It's like a weird. I'll have to find it.
Byron Nelson.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're playing South Lake Carroll this week. The only loss that South Lake Carroll has.
Is it Byron Nelson? Maybe it was. Are they blue?
Yeah, Trophy Club Byron Nelson. Yeah.
Yeah. Trophy Club. Yeah. That's the weird part.
Yeah, Trophy Club.
What is that?
Trophy Club is a suburb in North.
Okay.
It's right by South Lake.
Okay. So they're playing each other?
Yeah. Trophy Club is undefeated. Byron Nelson's the only team who has beat South Lake Carroll this year.
Yeah, odds-on favorites, they said.
Yeah.
They barely won their last game, though. I saw the highlights on
Yeah, they played Capel. But Capel was undefeated as well.
Odds on Dante Carter committing to Tech. Did he decommit from Vanderbilt?
I think so, yeah.
Did he?
I think I saw that on Twitter.
If Texas Tech gets 2 top 10 safeties in one class, I mean, come on. That is insane. That is just not what has been the norm here. I have not seen him decommit. I know that
it doesn't say on.
Yeah. I know that Texas Tech players are still recruiting him, so that would be a flip at the last minute, I think.
Well, and these days commitments mean absolutely nothing. Yeah, there's a lot of. It does say there's.
I have seen the smoke, and there's like, let's see. Will Hammond tweeted at him the other day. Micah Hudson tweeted at him. There's Peyton Morgan tweeted at him.
Yeah.
So there's some obvious overtures going out in the world, but I don't know that there's anything legitimate there.
I just don't understand why a 4-star kid. I mean, obviously, if he wants to go to Vanderbilt, he's going to Vanderbilt for other reasons, not the football.
I think a lot of people would say, why is a 4-star going to Texas Tech too? So
that's true. Why Micah Hudson's a 5-star best receiver in the state of Texas going to Texas Tech. Yeah.
Texas fans can't handle that one.
No, they can't. They're not able to comprehend that one.
If I mean, you have a top 20 class right now, you're at 20.
Yeah.
If you add Dante Carter,
you move up to at least top 15.
I don't know if you move to that much, but
that's another 4-star though.
You secure yourself in the top 20, I think. Which would be the best class you've had ever in this era since 2000, 2001. In the internet era. That would be insane. It would be. I mean, it would be insane.
Yeah.
And again, you're looking at this secondary. If you add Dante Carter, even more so, but even without him, you're going to be so good in 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah.
I mean, when Brennan Jordan and Chapman Lewis are seniors and they've stuck around and you're getting some play there. Yeah, we mentioned that, Roy.
And if you
that off air.
We mentioned that off air. Yeah, that Dozie Izukama decommitted from Oklahoma and committed to TCU crazy deal there, but I guess not so crazy. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
But, you look at if you would have Peyton Morgan, Dante Carter both in this recruiting class if Dante Carter were to decommit and choose Texas Tech. Now, USC was higher than Texas Tech in his pecking order, I think, because it's a institution of greater educational standards is what people say. I've never looked at USC's educational standards, but that's what they say. So, kid's a smart kid. He wants to go somewhere where football is secondary to what maybe his real goal is, and that's why you go to Vanderbilt. Obviously, if you're going to go play football at Vanderbilt, you're not going there to win the SEC. That's for sure. I would say that Texas Tech is in a little bit better position to win their conference next year than Vanderbilt is. Vanderbilt will never win the SEC.
No.
They'll never get close. But Vanderbilt's goal is to win 6 games in a year. But, there's other reasons for committing to schools, and Vanderbilt is one of the best institutions in the country for education. So, but yeah, if you got another 4-star to go along with the Peyton Morgans of the world, and then Cheto Ofili from Saxe, the offensive lineman commit that you have Ellis Davis from Prosper, and he's a kid, Rob, who we talked about true freshman being able to play. Jack Anderson was the last guy you had on the offensive line that I can remember that really was able to play as a true freshman and give you some quality on the offensive line as a true freshman. Is Ellis Davis one of those guys that can give you that kind of quality on the offensive line is another question in this recruiting class as well. So, and he's a big kid. He's 6'7", 265, something like that is what Ellis Davis is. He's a big boy.
Yeah.
So, you're losing a big kid, almost a 7-footer, and Landon Peterson. Exactly. But, yeah, a guy like Ellis Davis is coming in. You have the kid from Lubbock Cooper that's coming.
Yeah.
So
let me say this. If you have true freshmen starting on the offensive line or playing snaps, you're not recruiting well.
That's fair.
You recruited well this year, but you don't have you missed on the last 2 classes.
Yeah.
So I don't want Ellis Davis to play in year 1.
I agree. I completely agree.
Hey, I'm a best 5 guy play.
Yeah.
So if he's one of the best 5, you found a gem and play him. But I want Carr and Fatig and some of these guys you've had in these former classes to get out there and start playing. So.
No, I agree. But it just comes down to what do you have? What are the options? And then you
Monroe Mills returns.
Yeah, Monroe Mills will be back. Well, unless he goes in the transfer portal.
Does Caleb Rogers have another year somehow?
8th year? I don't think so. I think he was recognized on senior day.
Well, that doesn't really matter.
That's true. It's a great point.
All right, 35 minutes in. We're trying to do a little recap of the season 2. Yeah. Here's a question from Benjamin. Who gets a head coaching job first, Perry or Kitley?
Perry.
Really?
Yeah.
You think Perry's out wanting a head coaching job?
Yeah, I think that he's at the stage of his career where this is pretty much do or die time if you want to be a head coach. Like if you don't take it in the next few years, 2 to 3 years, then you're not going to be a head coach.
He would be the perfect hire for UTEP.
That's what I've heard as well.
Yeah. I don't know.
I've heard that he might be on their list. It's one of those 2 deals. And I think it was either Aaron Dickens or Gus that said this on Tech Talk the other day when I was in my car driving home, and they were talking about this exact thing, is that there's 2 different ways of looking at it. Now, Dana Dimmel, who was just at UTEP, who is no longer at UTEP, obviously. Right. Kenny Perry, a lot like a Dana Dimmel guy, old school. He's been the, the position coach at a Power 5, never been a head coach. Goes in, he's going to come in, he's going to be the kind of the Joey Maguire type GM of this team. He's not going to be a coordinator. He's not going to do any of this. He's not going to bring that young energy into a team. He's going to bring that
energy, though.
He brings energy, but not the young. He brings the old school style energy, which is my style right there, all day, every day. Then you have the guys like a Zach Kitley, who is also being mentioned for this UTEP job by some. No, there's not a whole lot of reporting on UTEP football because they don't have like a single beat writer.
They have
UTEP football.
They have got them.
But they don't have an on 3 or 247 page, so it's hard to keep up with just straight UTEP. It's just the El Paso papers. But anyways,
I hope Kitley gets the job first.
Who do you go after as your offensive coordinator if Zach Kitley takes a head coaching job?
I wouldn't be opposed to Jeff Grimes. I know he flamed out at Baylor because Aranda's a moron, but he had Zach Wilson as a Heisman candidate, and they had a top 5 offense at BYU.
At BYU, yeah. You had some good dudes at BYU.
That's complimentary football. That's how Baylor won a Big 12 championship because of Jeff Grimes.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that defense. And I think you have the defense. 27 points a game this year with the Texas game.
With the Texas game, yeah.
And
57.
That's when was the last time you had less than 28 points per game defensively? You ready?
Probably in the 90s.
No, more recent.
2011.
9.
Okay.
2009.
Well, Ruffin McNeil defense, huh?
Ruffins last year, yeah. And that was 22 points per game.
22 points per game.
In 2009.
That's not bad.
If the interior defensive line is good next year, you'll improve again. I think last year was 29 points per game, 27 points per game this year with Texas. Let me see. Yeah, Kitley to UTEP would be awesome for Kitley. I
don't think that's
Kenny Perry was in the North Texas running, but I don't know. There's also the UNLV guy, offensive coordinator that my co-host on the Gauchos likes, Kyle. He likes Marion from UNLV.
And he's a guy who has an offensive scheme that it's a run heavy out of the spread, really, but you need a really good quarterback to run it as well because there's a ton of RPO. There's a ton of read the defense, switch the play at the line of scrimmage type stuff. I think Baron Morton is that smart.
Hold on. ZS77. Hoping Kitley leaves after one bad year is dumb. I don't hope Kitley leaves because one bad year. I didn't want to hire Zach Kitley. That is not the type of offense that I want to run at Texas Tech. I don't want to be in this style of offense. I like Zach Kitley. He's a Red Raider, okay? He's a Lubbock guy.
Technically, he's an ACU Wildcat, and then he became a Red Raider. But yeah.
Wes is a legend. He was a GA here. Yeah, that means he was at school here. Wes is a legend. I don't want to run Zach Kitley's offense. It is not complimentary football. It is not what Joey Maguire expressed in his press conference. I don't like the Zach Kitley offense.
It's a perfect offense for a group of 5 team who has athletes.
I didn't like it at Western Kentucky, even though Bailey Zappi sets a billion records. It is not sustainable in the Power 5.
No.
I do not like it at Texas Tech. It is what it is. Now, you've had a lot of quarterback trouble in the last 2 years with Zach Kitley. If you have one guy play 12 games, maybe it gets a lot better. If you have athletes at the wide receiver position, like Micah Hudson, maybe it gets a lot better. But I don't want to throw it 60 times a game. And I know with Taj Brooks, you didn't do that this year. But you also had Baron Morton with a bumped shoulder.
You tried to do it sometimes this year.
And you threw it to the sideline 60 times a game. And I don't like that. It's not because Kitley had a bad year. It's because from day one, I didn't love that Zach Kitley was the offensive coordinator here. It does not fit with what I believe Joey Maguire is doing and recruiting to. It just seems a little off. Now, if Kitley has a huge year next year, I will absolutely cheer for him and be all in and love that he's having a big year. And it's probably because Morton is healthy and Micah Hudson has a huge year. But no, it's not because he had one bad year. I didn't jump on this train. I have been on the train of wanting a different offensive coordinator. And it has nothing to do with production. I just don't like that style of offense. I'm tired of the air raid. It's been here for 30 years. I'm tired of it. The Big 12 went away from it 5 years ago, and you're behind.
And at some point, too, is good offensive coordinators will switch up what they want to do with what their groups tell them they need to do. You'll change a scheme up to fit what you have on your roster. And sometimes the stubborn, and he did that this year, and you were able to get bowl eligible and be 6-6. And whenever he figured it out, it worked. You can throw the game in Austin out the window. We just don't talk about that one anymore. It just happens, kind of like what happened to Texas against Oklahoma back a couple years ago, and they got absolutely boat raced in the Red River Shootout. It just is what it is. Sometimes you're going to get your rear end kicked in, and you just live to play another day, which Texas Tech does this year because they were able to. Kitley was able to realize what worked and what didn't. And if he can do that again next year and ride the guys that make plays and figure out what scores touchdowns, it's not just throwing the ball 75 times a game, then so be it. This offense, and Rob said it, at Western Kentucky, it works because if you have a good quarterback and a few good athletes, the defensive backs in the group of 5 are not Power 5 defensive backs. You're talking about 2-star and 1-star defensive backs in the Conference USA. We're not talking about great defensive back play in the Conference USA, or scheme wise, they're not, throwing out different dime and nickel and all these different packages at you either, because they don't have the personnel to do that in the group of 5, especially in the Conference USA or things like that. So you can throw the pill around the yard 72 times a game, throw for 515 yards a game, and you can be just fine. That's not the case in the Power 5. You've got the best defensive backs and defensive linemen. You don't have the time to throw it 55, 60 times a game because your quarterback's not going to be able to throw it down the field that many times a game either.
And the running game was just Taj Brooks being a badass.
Right. That's all it was. I mean, it wasn't like you were just getting huge holes.
You're running inside zone.
Yeah.
Like you didn't have any complexity.
A couple times you ran the GT.
You ran the track, the GT, and then you ran inside zone. Hey, let's have some sweeps. Let's have some 2-back sets. Let's put Teeter in there at fullback. He did that a couple of times late.
I like the pistol as well.
Once or twice. Go in the pistol, put him behind you. Like, there's just no innovative run game. That's what I want. I want an innovative run game. I like Kansas State's offense.
I love Kansas State's offense.
And
it's effective.
It still gets the ball down the field. It's been effective for a long time. So
yeah. And you know what?
I'm not saying Baylor, Colin Klein, but
when Baylor won the Big 12, right? What was that, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
When Baylor won the Big 12, did they throw it 75 times a game? No, they ran the football and they ran it down your throat.
Does Oklahoma State throw the ball 50 times a game?
No, they have Alan Bowman as their quarterback. You can't.
Does Texas? Now, no. Texas throws it more, I guess, than some, but.
And this is one of the best Texas offensive lines since Colt McCoy was playing. So, yeah.
If we ran the ball from day one, what would our record have been? Maybe 75.
Yeah, you definitely would have beat Wyoming. That's the only game that I think you would have won if you would have done things differently. Because I think you ran the ball well against Oregon. You just didn't play well at the end of the game against Oregon. Yeah, Baylor had 4 years of McGuire and Blanchard running the recruiting department. That's true too.
But Baylor wasn't great because they had great offensive talent.
No, they were great because
they had great defensive talent.
They had a great defensive talent, yeah. And Dave Aranda is a great defensive mind. But
I don't like Zach Kittley's offense. I like Zach Kittley. I don't like his offense. I mean, it's my personal preference.
I'm right there agreeing with you. I don't like the way that.
I think you can win games with Zach Kittley as the offensive coordinator, but not because of Zach Kittley as the offensive coordinator.
College football has changed, right? Nobody runs the I formation anymore unless you're a service academy and they run it a couple times. They're mostly split back and flex bone, which tries to spread the defense out in that regard in a running style offense. It's either that or you're running the spread offense. And, gone are the days in the Big Ten where, except for at Iowa, which that'll change too after this year because Brian Ferentz is gone. He was the only offensive coordinator in the country that in Division I Power 5 football that still ran the Power I, that still ran the wing T formation, right? He's the only guy who did that. And look what Iowa did. They averaged like 12 points a game this year, but they're still in the Big Ten championship because their defense is legit. Like one of the best, if not the best defense in the country in college football in the FCS or FBS. So there's everybody else though runs the spread. Everybody else is running the spread offense. That doesn't mean everybody else is throwing it 75 times. It's not Mike Leach's spread offense anymore. This is it kind of has the same principles as what we've seen in years past, but it's spreading the defenses out, making the defenses play from a sideline to sideline, from hash mark to hash mark type of deal. And you have to have tight ends. You've got to, Ryan just said it, you've got to have fullbacks in your offense that can help you move the football down the field. Now, Michigan does a great job at this in their football games. They intertwine the spread with the old school style where you go under center and you have a single back there. Now, having a Blake Corum would be great. You had that this year in Taj Brooks. You could have gone under center and gone with a single back ace formation and handed the ball off to Taj Brooks getting downhill instead of the sidestep and then him having to get all the momentum going downhill. That's what I don't like about the spread offense. If you've got a good running back, let him get downhill. Go in the pistol some if you don't want to take the ball under center, right? Like there's no reason you shouldn't be able to do those things in a Power 5 offense, and why an offensive coordinator wouldn't do that. You can't run and look at it this way. Mike Leach had his moments at Washington State. He had 1 year where he won 10 games. That's cool, but he also got boat raced by Washington that year too. Because
he also started running the ball later in his career.
That's fair. At Mississippi State especially, he ran the football. But Will Rogers, he threw for 1 billion yards. Will Rogers did it at Mississippi State, but they were 7-5 and 6-6, and Texas Tech tore him up in a bowl game. So,
true.
That offense, it just doesn't. It's not going to win you 10, 11 games a year, which puts you in contention for a title. It's just not. You're going to win 6, 7 games a year. And if that's what you're content with, then cool. Like I'm cool with going to a bowl game every year, but you also want to contend for championships. And if you're saying that you're fine with it being 7-5, 8-4 at the best, then I think that you have a problem there. And you just don't understand the game of football as it is in the year 2023 and moving forward into the future of what football is going to look like. RDB. This is what the future of football is. And it's funny because it's kind of cyclical.
Texas Tech averaged 26.8 points per game this year.
Gave up 27, averaged 26.
The lowest since, they've tracked it since 2009. That's the lowest you've had. You haven't been under 30 until this year.
A lot of that has to do with playing a true freshman at BYU, crapping the bed against Texas, only scoring 7.
But you played true freshman in 2018. You crapped the bed quite a bit in the last 5 years, and you still averaged more than 30 points per game.
That's also fair.
You've played. It's like, oh, you played 3 quarterbacks this year. Yeah, you played 3 quarterbacks like 6 years in a row. So
it's true.
It just is what it is.
That's true too.
I don't like this system. It is a philosophical. I don't like Zach Kittley philosophically. So, not because he had a bad year. It is what it is. Is Sonny Cumby's seat hot at all? they weren't good this year.
No, they weren't good, and they had some internal issues as well. One where a player stepped on a opposing player's head, and Sonny Cumbie tried to shove it under the rug, and it just didn't go under the rug like he wanted it to.
No.
And that didn't work out well so much for Sonny. Put a black eye. That's kind of a black eye on the program. And when the program gets a black eye, who has the biggest one walking around the building? That's the head coach. I mean, that's the guy who runs it. So, I would say that if Sonny doesn't compete in that conference next year, especially in that conference, if Zach Kittley doesn't go this year, next year would be a great time for him to go. You get Sonny Cumbie back and be the offensive coordinator.
I mean, that's
what you wanted in the first place.
Yeah, I like Sonny's offense. I like Sonny's offense better than Zach Kittley's philosophically. But I would rather get away from this tree. Just for fun. See what happens.
That's fair too. I'm not opposed to that either. And of course, it's funny because I always wanted a guy like a Garrett Riley, which technically he's not from this tree, but he kind of is because of his brother.
Right.
But a guy like a Garrett Riley or of course, Arkansas just hired him, but a Bobby Petrino guy would fit somebody, not him. I don't want Bobby Petrino in the neck brace in Lubbock, but an offensive scheme like that would be okay with me.
You get to add one offense or defensive analyst to the staff. Who are you adding?
That depends on who's available.
Would you add Art Briles as an offensive analyst?
See, I probably would because I want to win football games. Am I putting human value over or under winning football games?
Anybody? He's in the box.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, Jeff Lebby was my choice for the offensive coordinator position before Oklahoma hired him. Let's be honest. I told you that that's who Texas Tech should have hired for their offensive coordinator position back whenever Joey McGuire got the job and Sonny took the La Tech job. I even said Lebby should have been the offensive coordinator pick before Cumbie, but current available coaches.
Gary Patterson defensively.
Gary Patterson would be great defensively. He's a guy that I think UTEP's going to shake some money at to see if they can't get him to step on over to El Paso. I don't think it'll happen. I think he's also a guy that Houston might go come in to call Gary Patterson and say, hey man, GP, you never have to leave your backyard to go recruit.
Is Jeff Taylor stuck at UTSA?
Man, I don't think so. If Houston
allegedly is hiring Willie Fritz.
That's not a bad hire either. Willie Fritz has done great at Tulane. So
15-1 last 6 years.
Yeah, Willie Fritz has been fantastic at Tulane. You're talking about how do you recruit to Tulane? It's obviously in New Orleans, but their stadium looks like a high school football field.
Yeah.
And Willie Fritz has been great. Why would you not want a guy like a Willie Fritz? But yeah, I don't know. Jeff Traylor is a guy that, man, he deserves to be a head coach at a Power 5 institution. I just truly, I
long is he still believe that? Because he's not going to have his quarterback next year.
No, he's not going to have the nucleus that he's had the last 6 years. He's had those players for 6 years. And that's why UTSA has been good for the last 6 years. Now moving to the American, they had some growing pains moving to a bigger, better conference. This year, they were still very successful in the American Athletic Conference. But yeah, I think I just, Jeff Traylor, I don't know if he just didn't want the Houston job. Like the Houston job to me would be one of the best jobs in the smaller Power 5 institutions because the recruiting base is right there. You literally don't have to go anywhere to recruit. Everything you need is inside of a 20-mile radius.
He could recruit where he's been recruiting.
And he's been recruiting in the San Antonio and Houston areas. So that's one of the best places in the whole entire nation for recruiting football players.
And he's been having to beg for money.
UTSA.
You don't have to beg Tillman Fertitta for money. He just gives it back.
You don't even have your own home stadium at UTSA. You play now it's a really cool stadium you play in the Alamo Dome. You get to play in an indoor place, but it's too big for the fan base that UTSA has. And they do get good crowds at their games where you're talking 20,000 people in a 45,000, 50,000 seat indoor facility. It just doesn't look good.
As a Texas Tech fan, who would you rather have at Houston, Fritz or Traylor?
So,
Fritz.
I mean, both of them. Yeah, Fritz. I don't know. Yeah,
Fritz,
in my opinion, just because he doesn't have the Texas high school football coach's ears. Yeah,
yeah. I don't want Traylor anywhere near the Big 12. Now, I was surprised he didn't get a shake at the A&M job. Mike Elko,
I think
fine hire.
A&M made the best hire they could have made. I think Mike Elko is the best hire for Texas A&M. He fits Texas A&M, I think.
And hopefully he can get them tamed down a little bit.
Yeah. I think he is a lot like remember I told you that you got to either go get a guy like a Lincoln Riley or somebody like that, who's kind of this young, notable type person. Lincoln's not as young as he was, or you go get a guy like a Mike Elko, who's this kind of, he's kind of RC Slocum, kind of Kevin Sumlin, where there's not a whole lot of personality to Mike Elko. Like, he is just who he is, man.
That's not a high praise there.
Well, Sumlin had some good years because of Johnny Manziel and Cliff Kingsbury.
Sumlin was better than Jimbo.
He was better than Jimbo.
Thoughts?
They ran him out after an 8-win season, didn't they?
Thoughts on Cliff Kingsbury as OC? Who? OC where?
Yeah,
he's not coming back to Texas Tech. That's not even a question.
They somebody posed the question of Cliff Kingsbury to Houston as the head coach.
That would be fun.
As the head coach. He doesn't want to be. He's already said he will not be. He does not want to be a head coach at the college level because he doesn't want to recruit.
Yeah. Well, he wants to be where he can get a job.
That's also fair.
So I don't know what that is.
I don't know. I think he likes
to work again. I don't know, but
I think he likes being on the West Coast, being at USC, being able to work when he wants to work, and not having to deal. And he's still getting paid by Arizona, by the way. So
right. That's what I'm saying.
And if he
job,
yeah,
for another couple of years, I don't know.
I think he'll be an offensive coordinator in the NFL before he's an offensive coordinator in a college game again.
And he's still young.
Yeah, really young.
So
for coaching, yeah.
If you could just say, "Hey, man, go in a locked room, turn the lights off, and watch film for 6 hours a day," and do that, I think you would be okay with that.
Yeah, that's why I think he'll be in the NFL before he's back in college football in a recruiting and a coordinating role.
One more coaching carousel note: Zach Spavital at Baylor.
Yeah, Baylor offensive coordinator. 1 year at Cal.
Yeah, he sucks too. I hate that offense. I do. I hate that offense. Great hire, Baylor. You suck.
Oh man, you went from Jeff Grimes to Zach Spavital.
Yeah, the sideline 10 times a half.
Yeah. Man, and Spav,
they were awful at Texas State.
He's a great position coach. I really think he's a really good position coach.
They'll score 40 every once.
But yeah, he was not good at Texas State, man. What did he win? 4 games in his 3 years?
Yeah.
5 games in his 3 years at Texas State. Just wasn't
GJ
good.
Kinney in 1 year removed goes to a bowl game.
Yeah, GJ Kinney is going to get – he is one of the younger guys to look out for. He's going to have a Power 5 job here in a couple of years if things go well at Texas State. That's for sure.
Obviously I'm being a little bit overboard there. I'm being a little dramatic on Zach Spavital, but I don't understand it. I do not understand that hire. Cal 1 year, he was at West Virginia for a while back when the Big 12 was doing the air raid thing.
Yeah.
So he has Big 12 experience. Where else did he go? He was at Cal, and then he went to West Virginia, and then Texas State, and then back to Cal, and then to Baylor. Is that what it is?
I mean, he was at Texas Tech too with Cliff.
Right, but not as the OC.
No.
I'm talking about his OC.
OC days. Yeah, I think it was just West Virginia, Cal, head coach. And he left Texas Tech. He left Texas Tech to be the head coach of Texas State, correct?
No, he left. He left a long time ago.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, he went to Cal before when he left Texas Tech as a position coach, and then West Virginia, Texas State, and then Cal. Oh,
Now I'm getting
Jake
my-
was Jake.
now I'm
Yeah,
getting
I get my
Spavital.
I get my Spavitols mixed up too. Jake left Texas Tech to go coach with his brother Zach
No,
at Texas Tech.
No, Jake is the offensive guy. Zach's the defensive guy.
Okay.
Jake is the new OC at Baylor.
He's the new. Okay, yeah, we're getting our Spavitols mixed up.
I knew I had that backwards, but so Jake Spavital, you ready?
Yeah.
He was never at Texas Tech. He was with Cliff.
At A&M.
No, he replaced Cliff at A&M.
Right. Okay.
So West Virginia quarterbacks coach 2011 to 2012. A&M 13 to 15 OC. Cal in 2016 as the OC. West Virginia in 2017 and 18. Texas State for 4 years, and then Cal in 2023. So A&M, Cal, West Virginia, Cal, Baylor is his OC career. He was 13 and 35 as a head coach. He's had some good offenses, but Sonny Dykes got fired when he joined the Cal staff. And then wait, hold on. He was Holgerson's last OC at West Virginia, 2018, right?
Yeah.
He got Sonny fired. And then he probably got Sumlin fired too, 15. How long did Sumlin last after that? A couple years?
Yeah, he wasn't there very many years after Johnny Football left.
Yeah, Jake Spavital. Yeah.
Jake, yeah, not Zach. Jake, yeah.
Graham Harrell for OC at Texas Tech? No. Hey, Graham Harrell's not a good offense coordinator. Show me a good offense he's had.
Fair.
Sorry.
You're talking about, coaches and all those things. And this is now I can't remember his name. Who was the coach at North Texas who everybody was just, gung ho about? Yeah, Seth Luttrell. Yeah. And you talk about Jeff Traylor. Seth Luttrell missed his moment. Yeah, Seth Luttrell missed his moment. You said that earlier, didn't you?
Do you know whose moment Jeff Traylor's was? He already missed it.
What moment was that?
Texas Tech.
Texas Tech, yeah.
They offered him the job, and he said, "Nah, there's a guy down at Baylor that you should go hire because I want to stay here a little bit longer."
Yeah, that's not a good idea.
And by longer, I mean a couple of weeks. I think
a couple of weeks too long. Yeah,
he wanted to finish that season, and Texas Tech wanted to hire a guy in October.
Yeah, because Matt Wells was gone in October. Yeah. You hired Joey McGuire. Yeah. Before Halloween.
I think it was like
a week after.
I think early November.
Yeah, officially.
Announced it.
But yeah, and Jeff.
If Jeff Traylor gets passed over at Houston, I mean, does Dave Aranda last one more year and then they hire him at Baylor?
That's my question.
Because Sam Pittman lasts one more year and they hire him at Arkansas. Does
Sam Pittman's he is rolling the dice, Robbie, with that hire of Bobby Petrino.
Does Saban retire?
No.
And Alabama hires Steve Sarkisian, and then Jeff Traylor go to Texas.
I don't think Jeff Traylor is Texas's style of head coach.
That's his dream job.
Well, yeah, it's everybody's dream job, supposedly.
It's not my dream job.
Not mine, but yeah, Steve Sarkisian will be at Texas for as long as Texas wants him at Texas.
I mean, here's the deal: Jeff Traylor's still winning, so he hasn't Luttrelled himself yet because Luttrell stopped.
Right?
Winning.
Yeah, Luttrell went like 4-8 in his last 2 years.
Jeff Traylor is still winning, so it's not the same. But if he loses, his quarterback and he doesn't replace him, and I mean, he's still 8-4 this year, 7-1 in the American. He moved up a level and still won it.
Yeah.
He went 7-1 in conference and lost.
Now the American isn't what it has been.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
Let's get that right. The American is basically the Conference USA that was the Conference USA back a few years ago, with SMU still in there and East Carolina and Memphis. That's it.
Yeah, Tulane.
Yeah, Tulane. That's the American. Tulane, Memphis, and SMU. That's the American Conference.
Yeah. Well, not anymore.
And not anymore. SMU's leaving. See you later. Tulane won't be that good without Willie Fritz.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. We're an hour in.
Yeah, we're way gone. We haven't even talked about basketball.
Yeah, let's get into basketball a little bit. Losing Butler. I'm gonna say something here that it might be a hot take. I don't know. I was encouraged after that loss to Butler.
I agree.
Can I say that?
It's not completely off the wall.
You gave up 100. But I think the worry here,
in overtime,
the defense will settle in. Yeah, well, an extra 5 minutes, they still scored 100. I think the defense will settle in. I think offensively, you're pretty good.
Yeah.
Now Butler 5-2, 6-2 now after they beat you. You're 5-2 now. Was it a good loss, tournament wise? I don't know, but I'm really not caring about the tournament right now. All you have to do in the Big 12 is win Big 12 games. Mm-hmm. Like, the non-conference really doesn't matter to me.
If you go 500 in the Big 12, you're a tournament team.
But Chance McMillan hitting 7-8 threes, Pop Isaacs getting to the rack, as well as he's getting to the rack, fighting back from 10 down to tie it and go to overtime. Now, there are still some holes in this team, and I think your small ball lineup is so much better than when Warren Washington's on the court, and I don't know if the numbers prove that, but it just looks like it to me. You've made most of your runs with that smaller lineup with Cambridge playing the 5, but I think this team is good. And maybe it's just they're better than last year. But I don't think you're going to be boat raced in the Big 12. I think you can go – I don't know if you can go 500, but I think you can get close enough to 500 to be on the bubble.
I think it's a better chance of going 500 this year in the Big 12 than it would have been had this team played in last year's Big 12 where you play everybody twice, right? Because this year you don't play everybody twice. You play the UCFs of the world who aren't very good. But you know, you also add in a juggernaut in the Houston Cougars into the conference this year, which helps the conference, by the way, helps Texas Tech.
And you had Arizona
you had Arizona next year. You know, I think that, I think this team can be a 7 team in the Big 12. And I think that the Big 12 will get at least 7 bids. Okay, let me say this. At least 6 bids to the NCAA tournament, probably 7, and maybe 8. 8 is the max I think the Big 12 will get in the NCAA tournament this year. But still, I think that the Big 12 is a tough league. I think it's the best league in the country, especially adding Houston in with Kansas, Texas, Baylor's good. You know, Iowa State. They're always going to be hard to beat, especially in Ames. Kansas State is Kansas State. They're going to be good. It just
I don't know about Kansas State.
Kansas State's going to be okay.
They'll be all right.
They're a team kind of like Texas Tech. It's one of those deals where and it's hard to play in the Octagon of Doom in Manhattan, Kansas.
To be fair, I didn't think they were very good last year early in the season.
Yeah, you didn't think they were very good last year. They went out and were top of the Big 12, near the top of the Big 12.
They figured it out,
yeah. Jerome Tang's a really good head coach.
Yes.
But if Chance McMillan can shoot it like that, there's not going to be a lot of games where you give up 100 points.
I don't know if it'll go like that, but
you're not going to shoot it 8 of 10 from 3. That's 80% on the night. He was feeling, if we could play at Hinkle Fieldhouse every night, that'd be great. Can we just move that place to Lubbock and Chance McMillan can shoot in the Hinkle Fieldhouse every single night?
I don't think you mentioned BYU. They're in the top 25.
No, BYU's a good team too. So the new additions to this conference in basketball, Cincinnati has, pedigree in college basketball. They're not a good basketball team right now.
Yeah.
But they have been in the past.
A couple of questions here. Did y'all think some of the foul calls last night were super weak? Yes. College basketball right now
is super weak.
Borderline unwatchable.
Yeah.
I almost turned off the first half because
every game.
Every call, like every trip down the floor shouldn't be a whistle. It just shouldn't. It is.
And there's been a point of emphasis this year, especially on inhibiting dribblers from getting to their spot. That's a point of emphasis that was told to officials at the beginning of the year.
I think that'll even out a little bit.
Yeah, I still get those emails from the NCAA about, the officials stuff. I guess I'm still subscribed to it, even though I don't officiate college basketball anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a point of emphasis, and you're going to see that a lot early in the season. You see it a ton. Yeah. Once you get into conference play, officials start to, especially in the Big 12, with how physical this league is, officials start to loosen up a little bit now, unless Jerry Pollard's in a game or guys like that who just love to blow their whistle. But
it's just a ref show. And I almost turned off the Cowboys game last night. There were 250, 60 yards of penalties.
Yeah, that's weak.
It is unwatchable when referees and officials get that far into the game.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea what the deal is with Lindsey allegedly redshirting? I'm more concerned with Robert Jennings not getting minutes.
Yeah, and the thing about it is that Lindsey has not suited out on the bench. He's not been one of the guys that's even gone through the warm-up lines, all those things. Yeah, he's just been in street clothes. Maybe he's hurt. But like guys like the Drew Steffies of the world, they are suited out. They are on the bench. So I don't know that they're –
Steffi's redshirting.
Intentionally redshirting? Yeah, that's
redshirting Steffi, yeah.
But he's still suited up.
Yeah, that's what redshirts do.
So – But if he plays in one game in basketball, it's not like football where you can play in 4 games, which is kind of stupid if you think about it. But basketball, you play 1 second, your red shirt's gone.
There should be a minutes limit.
Yes.
Like you get, I don't know,
80 minutes in a season. Yeah.
If you're going to be smaller and more offensive this year, why not let Drew Steffi play? Because I think physically Drew Steffi needs to redshirt.
Yeah, he's not ready physically, for sure.
Also, Devin Cambridge's foul call in overtime to make him foul out was ridiculous. Can they not review that? I don't know if it was an overtime, but that block out where the guy just jumps on top of his back and then Cambridge got the foul call.
Got the foul call on him. Yeah. Yeah,
like, why don't you do that?
No, you can't review that foul.
Why don't you just jump on top of people all the time that are blocking out? Like, that just seems like
so basically the rule is if you're in contact with a guy and you're blocking him out, you can't move underneath him. You can't displace someone who's jumping up for a rebound.
So why not do that every time?
I agree. Yeah. That goes to officials catching a play at the last minute, at the last second, and just guessing. Like, that's what that is. And I don't remember who was in the game last night officiating wise. It doesn't say in the box, or it will say it in the box score somewhere, but I don't have that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't Keith Kimball, who's my least favorite. Oh, yeah, it does. Mike Roberts, Kip Kissinger, who is a taller version of what I used to look like, and Tony Shiaza. Kip Kissinger is a good Big 12 official. He's one of my favorites. I went to camps and did stuff with Kip all the time. But, I don't know Mike Roberts or Tony Shiaza that well. But some of that stuff last night, it touchy-feely. But that's the way that they want the game to be called right now. It just is what it is. And the guys on the floor have to abide by what they've been told. And because if you don't do it, then you're not going to have games the rest of the season. And a lot of these guys, this is their livelihood. I mean, you're gone, you're on the road 6 days a week out of the 7 refereeing a basketball game. And you're making good money to do it. But it is what it is. They're being told to officiate it a certain way, and that's the way they have to officiate it. And I didn't like being told how to call a game a certain way, but you have to do it so that you get scheduled games. And coaches don't like it, but they understand it most of the time as well. So, it just sometimes guys get it wrong as well. It's just always going to happen. You're never going to get everything that you want. They're going to make some bad calls. I mean, you go back to the Final Four, the national championship game. Texas Tech wins the national title if they don't screw up Davide Moretti, the call on Davide Moretti. So, or call a foul late in the game on a layup that Texas Tech should have gotten. So,
I don't know why
officials are officiating, but they're not always going to get everything right. And they're going to make big mistakes against your team. They're going to make big mistakes against the other team that you're playing that helps you win a game later on down the road too.
Back to the starting line, chat line. How come Robert Jennings isn't seeing the court? He doesn't have the trust of Coach Gass. I don't know.
Which is crazy because he came back.
To me.
Yeah. Because he came back because he thought him and Coach McCaslin had a great relationship whenever he got here. So
you haven't. Yeah, I agree, Ryan. I don't know why Carson just said that. Of all the games you could have gone to prove a point or just to stop 30 seconds earlier, I don't know why you did that.
That's just a big moment, man.
Let me see. What was I saying? You threw me off.
And I was there and had to fight Virginia guys.
Yeah, you haven't had a game where Warren Washington is out in the first 5 minutes because of fouls and Cambridge gets in foul trouble. Robert Jennings is going to have to play big minutes down low at some point. Maybe it is just as simple as you haven't needed him yet, but from last year to this year, I don't know. Lamar Washington hasn't impressed me much from year to year, and Robert Jennings, I guess, hasn't impressed the coaching staff. Pop Isaacs has taken a step forward, I think. Now, he's shooting 27% from three, which is not good enough, but
no. He played 43 minutes last night. He and
what's crazy is it's this early in the season and you've already whittled down to a 7-8 man rotation.
Yeah, he and Joe Toussaint both played 40 minutes plus last night.
Which McCaslin could do that in his last conference. He might be in for a rude awakening trying to do that in the Big 12.
That's crazy. You played an overtime game and you played 8 dudes.
Yeah.
You're right. I don't know that you can get away with that. I don't know that you can get away with that in the Big 12.
You can't. Yeah. So maybe you can't finish strong.
And of those 8, you really only played 6 because Lamar Washington and Kerwin Walton played 4 and 9 minutes.
Yeah.
4 minutes and 9 minutes for your 7th and 8th guys off the bench.
They lost to DMPs. Yeah, you have to play more guys.
And Chance McMillan played 36 minutes off the bench. Warren Washington played 27 minutes.
That's good for him.
That's
25 minutes, Warren.
Yeah.
Or less. Give me 20 minutes for Warren Washington.
I was going to say 22 minutes tops.
But at that point, you have to play Robert Jennings.
Yeah.
That's Cambridge play 40 minutes?
Yeah.
They can't. What you got the minutes up?
Who?
Cambridge.
Cambridge played 34 minutes, but he fouled out with a minute and 50 seconds left in overtime.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's 1 minute more, right?
He could have gotten to 36 minutes, but yeah. The only 2 over 40 minutes were Pop Isaacs and Joe Toussaint, 43 and 42.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting. All right. Do you have to be anywhere? I mean, we're 20 minutes over time.
No.
We didn't really do what I was trying to do with the football. I think we can do that next week, though. Any bowl predictions?
Man, that's hard because I would have to pull up the Big 12 bowl allotments real quick. Big 12 bowl games. Let's see. Selection process. All right. So you have, obviously, it depends on what happens in the college football playoff scenarios.
Yeah.
Texas could very easily find themselves in there if things happen. And
that doesn't matter for you.
It kind of does because then they're up in the playoff. That means whoever's second in the conference gets the New Year's Six or whatever the conference bowl is there, the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah, but it's not tiered like that anymore past the Sugar Bowl.
That's fair.
It's just whoever the bowl gets. Like a 6-6 team went to the Cheez-It Bowl last year.
That's fair. So you have the Alamo Bowl, who I think is probably going to be
Yeah, you're not in the Alamo Bowl.
Oklahoma State.
Yeah. Unless Texas is in the playoff.
Yeah, unless Texas is in the playoff. The Pop-Tarts Bowl. Would love for that to be Texas Tech, but I don't know that it will be.
Probably not. If you didn't get it last year, you're not getting it because that's the Cheez-It Bowl.
Yeah, that's the Cheez-It Bowl in Arizona.
If you didn't get it, no, that's in Orlando.
Other than Cheez-It Bowl was from Arizona.
It's the Camping World Bowl.
Ah, gotcha.
Come on, man.
Yeah. So, here we go. Now I can see all the Armed Forces Bowl in Fort Worth. Obviously, not one that you want, but
that might be one. Now you're getting closer to where you might be.
So I would love the guaranteed rate bowls at the top of my list for Texas Tech. Being in Phoenix, playing in that bowl game. You've had
the Liberty Bowl 2 years ago. I don't think you'll be back there. You're in the Alamo Bowl or the
Texac Bowl. Yeah.
Year. I don't think you'll be back there.
No.
Pop-Tarts Alamo Bowl probably out of your range.
Yeah.
So that leaves the Guaranteed Rate Bowl in Phoenix against a Big Ten team.
Yeah.
The First Responder Bowl
against Independence.
Against maybe an ACC team, but probably a Group of 5 team. Yeah. And then Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl, which is at Amon G. Carter Stadium, by the way, against a Group of 5. And then the Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl, which the downturn there is it's December 16th, so you have to start practicing immediately. You don't get any time.
Yeah. And I would be okay with the Shreveport game just because a lot of Texas Tech fans can get to it pretty easily, especially from Dallas. Shreveport ain't a bad place to spend a few days either.
Of course, you know what's closer to Dallas?
Stay at the Horseshoe.
Fort
Worth.
Dallas. Yeah. Dallas. But I don't want to play at SMU Stadium or
TCU. Yeah.
I've been to a game at TCU. It's a fine venue, but playing a bowl game in a rival's stadium is just brutal to me.
Yeah, Baylor didn't like that last year.
No, and I don't want to lose to Air Force.
Air Force, yeah, good point.
And you probably would if you played Air Force in the now.
I think the last time you played Air Force in a bowl game was actually in the Copper Bowl in Zebby Lethridge's senior year, and we lost to Air Force that year too. The Falcon crapped on me in the hotel lobby. Yeah.
The Independence Bowl is probably my favorite opportunity, but December 16th, I just you have to get because the gray shirts coming in can practice with you in the bowl prep.
Yeah, if once they can enroll in school, yeah.
Right. So but is it?
They have to be enrolled in school, I believe, to practice on the football team that is affiliated with said school.
Right,
correct?
But you can enroll. You don't have to be taking classes though.
No, because there's no classes going on after this week.
So is it signing day? Is it the 20th?
Yeah.
You can't enroll till your signing day, or can you enroll?
Yeah, you can't enroll until after you sign your letter of intent. I mean, I don't know how that works. I would think that would be the answer to that question, though.
Anyways, all the players already on campus. You don't get a break. Like you don't have any time off. You don't get to recover. You're just back into it and you get 14 ball practices.
Yeah, if you do play on December the 16th, then players obviously get off for Christmas and get that time with their families. But the only two bowls that you wouldn't get that in are the Independence Bowl and the Armed Forces Bowl. The Armed Forces Bowl being the 23rd.
Joey said on his coach's show that they work things out to make it happen, allegedly.
It's fair.
But, I mean, what if they get to campus and they're like, I'll flip before signing day?
That'd be crazy. They have a few practices. I don't really like it here.
Like this coaching staff, yeah.
I ain't going to sign with you anymore. It's like test driving a car.
I would assume the bowl practice is pretty loose.
No pun intended, huh, Benjamin?
Yeah.
A gray area for the gray shirts.
Gray shirts, yeah. I missed this one on the starting line chat line. Thoughts on McCaslin's coaching style? I like Coach McCaslin. I thought
I do too.
Here, and I think there was opportunities to quit in that game last night, and they didn't quit.
Right, I agree.
They just ran out of steam because they played 6 guys in an overtime game.
Do you think so? Going back to the bowl games, the Guaranteed Rate Bowl in Arizona, obviously, like I said, top of my list. I think it should be at the top of everybody's list. I think that's the top of the list for Texas Tech. What other one is there? I mean,
Shreveport, the Independence Bowl. I like playing Cal rather than a Big Ten team, but either one is fine to me.
Cal won 6 games.
Yeah.
Holy crap! How'd they do that?
And they don't have
their offensive coordinator.
Now, I wish they did.
Jake Spavital.
Yeah. Yeah, I always thought Zach was the offensive guy, but it's Jake.
Yeah. Brent wants the Independence Bowl. I wouldn't mind the Independence Bowl.
Zach Spavital was at Texas Tech, by the way.
Zach Spavital was at Texas Tech. Yes, the defensive guy. You're right. Correctamundo there, Robbie.
Independence Bowl. Yeah, but again, I don't want to play on December 16th, but I like playing a Pac-12 school.
I just can't stay at the Horseshoe in Shreveport anymore.
Oh, you got banned?
Mainly from the riverboat.
Counting cards or what? And then the December bowls, frustrating, but would be fine. And then the Guaranteed Rate Bowl, guaranteed a Big Ten opponent, I would be fine with that too.
Yeah, who would the Big Ten opponent be? Like
I was about to look up the Big Ten standings.
It won't be in Iowa. Would it be like? Did Indiana win 6 games?
Let's see. Maryland was 7-5.
It'd probably be Maryland. Tagovailoa.
Rutgers 6-6. Northwestern 7-5. Wisconsin 7-5. Nebraska just misses out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 bowl eligible teams out of 16.
Wow. 14. So half the league. Oh no, 16 next year with Oregon and Washington joining. Oh no, they'll have 18 teams next year.
Yeah.
Because you got USC and UCLA coming too.
Yeah.
I forget about UCLA and USC because they're not very good. Oregon and Washington, both really good. USC, UCLA, not very good.
How does the Big Ten do their bowls? I know the SEC does it like the Big 12 now.
Yeah, I don't know.
Pick and choose, but is there a pecking order in the Big Ten?
I would assume there is. Yeah,
it's probably Rutgers or North. I don't know how high up. I just don't know how high up the Guaranteed Rate Bowl is because there's a bunch of 7-5 teams, and then Rutgers is 6-6. So it'd be Maryland, Northwestern, Wisconsin, or Rutgers.
Mike Locksley in Maryland?
Or Cal. I'd rather play Cal.
Isn't Mike Locksley the head coach at Maryland?
Yes.
Yeah. Taulia Tagovailoa, the quarterback at Maryland?
Yeah.
I'd rather see Northwestern or Cal. Yeah. One of the two smart schools.
Speaking of football, Tech needs to do everything they can to get UNT wide receiver Jamori Macklin.
Yeah, Jamori Macklin's in the transfer portal. I thought I mentioned his name earlier. I may not have, but yeah, he's a kid that I really liked. I really liked watching this year when I got to watch North Texas.
I watched a few North Texas games. He's a solid kid. Yeah.
Yeah, because Eric Morris is the head coach at North Texas. Been a friend of mine for years now, but and that Morris family, just great people. But I didn't know, obviously Trey Cleveland left. Blair Conright, another family friend. The Conrights have been family friends for a long time. So Blair Conright transferred from TCU to North Texas. He's a kid that I thought that Matt Wells missed out on here at Texas Tech as well.
Yeah.
He's a Coronado product. Could have kept him here at Texas Tech. But I think he really likes it at North Texas. And Trey Cleveland's there as well.
Macklin started at LSU. Oh, no, LSU offers North Texas receiver.
Yeah.
I had that backwards.
Yeah, no, Macklin was a 3-star recruited kid coming out of high school.
Penn State offers, Kentucky offers, Michigan State offers.
Yeah.
He's going to – Ole Miss offers. He's going to have his pick there.
He's going to have his pick. He's really athletic. He's a guy that I would say should be at the top of the list.
He started at Missouri. He's a fourth-year sophomore.
COVID freshman, man.
COVID freshman.
That's like the best classification you could
Missouri
possibly be, because you get like 12 years of college eligibility at that point.
redshirted at Missouri as a freshman in his second year, and then was also a freshman last year. I guess he got a medical redshirt. How did
At
that work?
North Texas, yeah.
I don't understand.
I don't either. COVID, man.
How is but he got 2 redshirt years?
You get a free year. You don't even get a red shirt year counted for you as your
No, but
freshman year during
he
COVID.
played 2 years at Missouri, 2020 and 2021.
Yeah. So he's still got 2 years left.
And then 2022. But how? He's been in college 4 years.
Baker Mayfield got 12 years in college. And
But
he didn't even have COVID.
Shouldn't he have been Well, I guess. Oh, no, I get it. Never mind.
Because COVID doesn't count.
And then I was counting that as a redshirt freshman year. But that's,
Yeah, no, that doesn't count as a year at all. You don't lose a year of
I
eligibility at all for COVID.
got it.
Yeah.
He averaged 23.8 yards per catch last year and 17.6 this year. Do you agree? Are you out on the 6'4", 6'5" wide receiver? Are you back in on the 6 foot
Athletic
6'2" to 5'10" kind of guy?
I think there's a time and place for a guy like, a 6'4", 6'5" guy. I like whenever your tight end is 6'5", 6'6".
Well, sure, but
because the only time that you really need a guy like that is whenever you're trying to throw that go up and catch it fade ball in the back corner of the end zone near like the 10 or the 15-yard line. But you can very easily run a tight end down the seam against the linebacker, and that can be your jump ball play. Like I like that more than I like the crappy catch, throw, fade to the back end of the end zone and hope for the best.
yeah, there's 6 foot wide receivers that are great jump ball guys.
No, that's what I mean too. Is those guys can run that play as well. I like the back shoulder dart pass more than I like the lob it up and go catch it.
I don't know. You just only recruited 6'5" wide receivers for 3 years
for a long time.
None of them worked out really.
No, I mean, and in certain offenses, those guys can be great. Trey Cleveland had a pretty good year at North Texas this year, but again, we're talking about a different level of what you're seeing at the secondary level. You're not
but that's one big guy and not 6'6", and that's their.
No, you're right. Yeah, you're right. And JJ Sparkman, another kind of one of those guys that you're going to see move to tight end because, I think he fits better in that role. To be honest with you.
27 catches, 415 yards, 3 touchdowns. Trey Cleveland in the American Athletic Conference. I wonder. Let's see. Was he in the top 5 receivers
last year?
This year for North Texas. He was the fourth leading receiver.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And then Blair Conwright was 5th.
Yeah.
Of course, that's an offense that spreads it around.
Yeah, they like to spread it around. They're a quick, short pass game as well, too. It's a lot of mesh in Eric Morris's offense.
Dylan Cantrell was a beast. Yeah, I'm not saying don't recruit a 6'4" kid ever.
But Dylan Cantrell was 6'4" and athletic as all get out.
Yeah, he can do backflips.
Yeah. He's not your 6'4", 6'5" guy that runs a 4.7 40 and only has one route in his repertoire. Dylan Cantrell was 4'4" guy, athletic. He's a freak athlete, kind of like Eric Izukama. He's 6'4" and a freak athlete.
How tall is Mike Hudson? 6 foot?
6 foot, 6'1". Yeah. They'll probably give him 6'1" in the media guide. He may be one of those kids that grows a little bit more when he gets to college, but he's not tall by any means.
Let's see what it says on 3.
But I mean, if you look at the best wide receiver in the country is Marvin Harrison Jr. Can we agree on that?
Mike Hudson says 5'11" and a half.
Yeah, he's 6 foot.
On another profile, it says 6'1" and a half. So.
Yeah, he's 6 foot. We can agree that Marvin Harrison Jr. is the best receiver in the country, correct?
Yeah, him and Neighbors at LSU.
Yeah, Neighbors is really good too. Neither one of them are just huge guys.
Right.
But you don't have to be a huge guy. in Marvin Harrison's defense, his dad wasn't a big guy, but he's one of the best receivers in the NFL. That
Marvin Harrison Jr. is 6'4".
Yeah, he's not 6'4" though. He doesn't look that big.
That's what it says.
No,
I'm just telling you what it says.
Yeah, but I was also 6 foot on a couple rosters, Rob, and I'm not an inch over 5'9". I'm not even a quarter of an inch over 5'9".
Yeah. No, I like tall receivers.
Yeah.
But
Marvin Harrison, I thought he's 6'2" at the tallest. But either way, it doesn't matter. I mean, you look at Devontae Smith or Devontae Adams.
6'2".
Yeah. And not a big dude either. So freaky fast, freaky fresh.
Yeah, just athletes. I think getting as athletes. What is the floor for Joey Maguire to keep fans happy next year?
6 wins.
I think you got to win more than 6. If it's 6 Big 12,
but 6-6. If you have another winning record in the Big 12, how can you be upset about that?
Oh, I would be upset about that. Have you seen the schedule next year? And you're about to take Oregon off of it.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're about to take Oregon off the schedule, aren't you?
Hold on. Let's look at the schedule before we just start.
You have North Texas, ACU are your 2.
Sometimes Carson, you just talk, man. You got to have 6-6 is not good next year.
I'm just saying.
Sometimes you just talk, man. You just be talking to talk.
6 wins gives you a bowl game, Rob.
ACU and North Texas on the schedule next year, and you're saying you'd be happy with 6-6.
I'm not saying I'd be happy. I'm saying if you go to a bowl game, is that not the floor that people are happy with?
No.
What's the difference in 6-6 and 7-5?
No, you misunderstood the question.
How is that misunderstanding the question? 6-6 or 7-5 is the same exact damn thing.
Fans would be content maybe with 6-6, but not happy.
That's what I'm saying. He asked.
No, but
keep fans happy next year. In my mind, I'm thinking keep fans content to not wanting his head.
A lot of fans would want his head at 6-6 next year with that schedule.
Yeah, with that schedule, that's fair. But 6-6, you're still going to a bowl game.
Yeah,
and there's not a huge difference in 6-6 and 7-5. It's not a big difference in 7-5 and 6-6.
if you win games in the non-conference, yeah. If you're 3-0 in non-conference and go 6-6, that's a brutal year to me. Because then that's 3-6 in Big 12 play.
Yeah, Roy said 8-4 would have people pumped. I agree.
Depending on because then you'd have 3 straight years with a Big 12 winning record. Because you go 5-4 in Big 12 play if you go 3-0 in the non-con. 8-4 would, I think, is what he's asking.
8-4 is the floor.
No. That would be improvement. Fans are like jazzed.
But the question was, what's the floor?
No, it's not. We're reading the question differently. Oh, it does say floor.
It says, what is the floor for Joey Maguire to keep fans happy next year?
I still say 8 wins. You got to improve, man. You can't go 6-6.
6-6 would be underwhelming. I agree. But you can't. But you're not going to fire Joey Maguire for going 6-6 next year.
Well, that's the administration. The administration is a different question than fans.
Fans want to fire Joey Maguire for.
Fans are mad this year for going 6-6.
For going 6-6, yeah. And the only game that should piss you off this year is the Wyoming loss.
Also, you got to take your
West Virginia loss
out of your own head and put it into these Texas Tech fans' heads.
That's fair.
They're crazy.
There's some people on Twitter that just are bonkers.
Just wild.
Yeah. Just don't have a grip on reality at all.
8-4. Yeah. Now people just they're dumb. Really, is what it is. Comparing Joey to Matt Wells, just smooth brain people out there.
Yeah, those are flat earthers there.
Speaking of smooth, there was a guy last night talking about putting Grant McCaslin into question in Game 7 of his tenure. He gave up 100 to Butler.
Hasn't even been playing for a month, and they want him to fire. Yeah. And going 2-1 at the Bahamas was pretty good, I thought. We talked about that, didn't we?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if we did, but
yeah, we talked about going. If you go 2-1, you feel pretty good about it.
Yeah. Oh, we talked about.
If you go 1-2, you don't feel great. But you went 2-1. You lost to a good team in the first round in Villanova, and then you came out and you beat UNI, and then you beat who was the third team you played? Rob?
If you play, I'm still stuck on this football question. If you play ACU, North Texas, and
why would Oregon not be on the schedule?
And Wazoo, you haven't heard this?
No,
they're gonna. I don't know. I think Oregon has a really hard schedule next year.
They don't want to put
the Big Ten, and they don't want to play Texas Tech. I think. So I think you're going to play Wazoo next year.
Yeah, they want Bo Nix to fall back on next year.
Move Oregon back. Yeah. But
I'd rather go get it over with at Eugene next year.
There was an article from Don Williams,
Big Donnie Don,
talking about scheduling. Like there's going to be some definite scheduling changes that are already on the books, which I hope that means you're going to be taking off games like ACU. Maybe not this year, but in the future, you're not playing teams like ACU. There's an Oregon State, Colorado State same year thing. If both of those are not in the Power 5 anymore, you don't want 2 Group of 5 games in 1 year, or maybe you do, because then you're going to a bowl game for sure.
Yeah, Oregon State will be in the new revamped Pac-12 or whatever it's going to be. The Mountain West / Pac-12.
They have 2 more years as the Pac-2, right?
Right.
So they can operate as the Pac-2, I think, next year.
I would see Oregon State and Wazoo striking up some contracts with a bunch of Big 12 schools.
Yeah, like Notre Dame in the ACC.
Yeah. Notre Dame has like a half foot in the ACC, though.
Right, you play 6 Big 12 games a year.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think you could play 6 Big 12 games a year because that just wouldn't work in the non-conference.
Big 12, but Oregon's coach went to Michigan State.
Oregon State's coach, yeah. Mm-hmm. That's where I think DJ Uiagalelei ends up, or in Michigan State.
I would love Oregon State in the Big 12. Why? Because they've been good 2 years. Is that a baseball thing? I mean, they have a good fan base, but they don't add anything to the Big 12.
Cool new stadium in Corvallis too. I mean, it's not new.
Are you dropping Houston and adding?
They remodeled
because maybe that would be fine.
You just don't get any value with Oregon State.
No, you don't.
You do in women's basketball. They've got a Lubbock girl on their basketball team as well there at Oregon State, one of the best players in the Pac-12.
Oregon State, you ready?
Yeah.
8-4, 10-3, 7-6 in their last 3 years. 2-5, 5-7, 2-10, 1-11, 4-8, 2-10, 5-7, 7-6 in 2013. 3-9, 5-7, 8-4, 8-5. Sorry, with the bowl game. And then 9-4, 9-4, 10-4 in 2006, 7-8. Now, that just doesn't scream solid program to add into the Big 12 to me.
No.
They didn't go to a bowl game from 1965 to 1998. Not a single bowl game. From 65 to 98.
That's rough. Of course, that's before all the Nike money got injected into the Oregon institutions as well.
They've been to 13 bowls since 98, but
how many years is that? 25?
Yeah.
No. 20.
The Rose Bowl in 64.
7.
Yeah. Now, there weren't as many bowls back then, but
no.
Even into the 90s, lots of people are going to bowl games. Not a single bowl in the 70s or 80s. If you would drop Cincinnati. I would drop Houston. I just don't think they add anything to the Big 12.
They add it in basketball, men's basketball. That's it.
I mean, yes, they're a good program now, but
When Kelvin Sampson leaves, will they be? I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, is Sampson good or is Houston?
Samson's good. Let's be honest. Samson's good.
Houston has had success before, they have
because they did what Kelvin Sampson has done everywhere he's been, and they paid players.
Yeah, they have a pedigree. Yeah,
I mean,
now it's legal.
Yeah, now everybody can do what Kelvin Sampson's been good at doing for years. That's why he was good at Oklahoma. That's why he was good at Indiana.
Taj Brooks has graduated. I saw on Twitter.
Yeah,
congratulations to him.
Good for him. That's why
or is graduating. I don't think they have had graduation yet.
Yeah, Taj Brooks is going to the NFL, man. He's not coming back to Texas Tech. Even if he doesn't go to the NFL, I think if he wasn't to go in the NFL draft, I think you'd see Taj Brooks in the transfer portal, to be honest.
It would be really. And go to
why not? Go to a Big Ten school.
Or an SEC school.
Or an SEC school that runs the football that you can a school like a Michigan would be a perfect place for Taj Brooks. I don't know what Iowa's going to hire as their offensive coordinator, but I don't see Kirk Ferentz going totally in the opposite direction.
I think they had 17 points per game this year. They allowed
That's more
12.
than I thought.
They allowed 12 though.
Yeah. Watch them beat Michigan in the Big Ten championship. Michigan scores 7 points. Iowa scores 10.
I bet Michigan blind in that game. Just because
you did?
Yeah. That line is 21.
21, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, hey, let's make some picks real quick. We're 2 hours in. This is ridiculous.
Blasphemy? I don't think it is, Roy.
What was blasphemy?
That I said Taj leaves if he doesn't go to the NFL.
Oh. Yeah, I don't. I mean, if Taj comes back, I think maybe Cameron Valdez leaves, but I don't think Taj would. The Lady Raiders play tonight. They're 8-0. They play Houston Christian, which I still have a hard time saying.
Houston Baptist.
Yeah.
I did drive by their school the other day when we were in Houston, and it still says Houston Baptist University on some of their stuff around campus. And then there's a lot of it that says Houston. Big sign says Houston Christian University, but a lot of their stuff still has the HBU logo on it. What were we looking at? Oh yeah, college football games.
Yeah, I've got it. Let's just do them all. Why not? We'll rapid fire. This will be the last.
Yeah, go for it.
Liberty -10 in the Conference USA Championship over New Mexico State.
Yeah, Jerry Kill a great job this year being 10-3, but Liberty, yeah, they win.
They're 12-0.
12-0, yeah.
You think they'll cover?
Yes.
Who replaced Hugh Freeze?
I don't know. Good question.
Pac-12 also on Friday. Oregon, Washington. Oregon 9.5. I'll take Oregon to win, but that is a wild line.
Yeah, I'll take Oregon to win. I don't know if they cover the 9.5. I'd take Washington to cover the 9.5.
Yeah.
Man, that is a wild line.
Oklahoma State, Texas at 11 a.m. on Saturday. Texas -15. Give me the Horns.
Yeah, give me the Horns. Texas is playing their best football right now.
Georgia, Bama. Georgia -5. What do you say?
Go Dogs.
Go Elephants. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
I was watching what is it? Maybe an untold story or I don't think it was a full 30 for 30, but
SEC stories.
E60 SEC story about the guy who poisoned Toomer's corner trees.
Oh yeah.
He just I got too much Bama in me. It's a pretty good line.
Harvey Updike.
Yeah. SMU Tulane. Tulane -3. Did Preston Stone break his leg?
Preston Stone, the quarterback at SMU? I don't know. Did he?
I'll take. He broke his leg. Yeah, he broke a fibula.
Oh yeah. Give me Tulane. So who's playing quarterback at SMU?
Not Preston Stone.
Obviously not.
I don't know. Let's see who their backup is, or at least who has the second most stats.
His high school team's playing for a state championship right now.
Some gentleman named Kevin Jennings.
Good luck to him.
Oh, Alex. Who's Alex Padilla? That name sounds really familiar.
But Dallas Parish Episcopal just won like their 8th state championship in a row in TAPS Division I. That's Preston Stone's alma mater.
Padilla is a senior. Iowa. Former Iowa quarterback.
There you go.
Didn't play much, though.
No.
Good grief. On 100 attempts, he was 49% completion.
It's not very good.
Oh, man. All right, back to the games.
Oh, he's a freshman from South Oak Cliff. You're right, Brent. Yeah. Jennings is from South Oak Cliff. Correct, Amundo. Won a 2 straight state championships at South Oak Cliff. Looking for their 3rd this year.
Speaking of Iowa, Michigan, Iowa. Michigan minus 22 now. I got it at 21.
Yeah, I had Michigan at 21. Harbaugh comes back. I think they're better without Harbaugh coaching. I think they're better when they have the we're playing for Coach Harbaugh. First of all, dude's alive.
Yeah.
Dude's alive. He's not sick or dying. He just got suspended because he's cheating. Now, I don't think he should have been suspended for what they did. Like, that's just brilliant scouting in my mind. He's just doing more than others. Why not try and go steal the other team's signs? Obviously, you could have bought a ticket and sat in the stands and done the exact same thing in the front row at other stadiums instead of going to Central Michigan and acting like you're on their staff and getting signs from an opponent. But yeah, it doesn't bother me what Michigan did. I don't know why it bothers other people, just because they didn't think about it anyways. But yeah, Michigan wins this one. I don't know that they covered 21 though, to be honest. I think it's like 21-10 is the final. 28-10 still don't cover.
Yeah, I don't think they cover that, but I bet on it, or I picked it in my pick'em league.
Actually, I picked
like
Iowa.
30 games. I'm 30 games under, so
I picked Iowa. Yeah, you gotta go for.
I just took. Yeah. Louisville, Florida State. Florida State minus 1.5. I'll take Louisville here.
With Rodemaker as their lead man. Now, kid played his rear end off to win that Florida game last week, even though he got a concussion late. Of course, Florida screwed themselves.
I didn't take Florida State. I took Louisville.
Oh, you took Louisville. Louisville just lost to Kentucky.
So that's
give me the Noles. Give me the Noles
game, not ACC.
Oh,
and how weird was that? Mark Stoops to A&M night.
Yeah, really weird.
Really,
the A&M faithful did not like it.
No.
And then Mark Stoops went on there. Was like, there are rumors. The rumors are true. I have been offered a job, but I am staying at Kentucky. No, Mark. Texas A&M called you and said, you're not coming to Texas A&M. Our fans don't want you. We're gonna go get Mike Elko.
He said right now.
Right now. Yeah.
So he's not staying for long.
Kentucky was 7-5 this year.
If the Iowa AD fires Kirk Ferentz because he goes down with the ship of his little son, Mark Stoops should go to Iowa.
Kirk Ferentz is kind of like.
Didn't Mark Stoops play at Iowa?
I don't know. Did he? I don't know anything about Mark Stoops, to be honest with you. I just know he's Bob's brother and better than Mike.
He is the best Stoops brother beyond Bob.
Where is Mike Stoops, by the way, these days?
He was a defensive back at Iowa. Yeah.
Put on a few LBs since then, I guess.
73-64 overall.
It's not terrible at Kentucky. Tough job. He's been at Kentucky for a while, yeah?
Since 2013.
Yeah, I was going to say 12 or 13 is when he took that job.
Oh.
Good for him.
So you're going Florida State regardless?
Yeah, give me the Noles.
Jack Plummer, baby.
Rodemaker.
Rowan Gardner. Rodemaker looks like Is he a freshman? He looks like a freshman.
Yeah, he's a freshman. I think he's a redshirt freshman, but
he's a tiny dude.
Yeah, he's not Jordan Travis. I feel really bad for Jordan Travis, man.
He got knocked out in 4 minutes left in that game.
Who, Rodemaker?
Yeah.
Yes, he did. And it was the worst. Florida wins if they don't touch him right there.
Oh, Seth Luttrell promoted to offensive coordinator at OU, according to Brent. He was an analyst.
Wow.
He was an analyst this year, and put him at OC.
Wow.
Fine hire. I loved their offenses. Graham and Luttrell at North Texas had great offenses.
True. They had good quarterbacks too, though.
But Graham hasn't done anything since he left North Texas. Well,
wasn't Jason Bean one of those quarterbacks at North Texas they had?
Was he there with Graham?
I don't know if he was there with Graham. He was there with Seth Luttrell, though.
Graham went to USC, and then Luttrell was still there.
The USC experiment didn't go well. Of course, it hadn't gone well for Lincoln Riley either.
West Virginia didn't go well. Purdue hasn't gone well.
Joe Dirt is a treasure. Agreed.
Yeah.
If FSU wins it all, Florida State will not win it all. No. Here's my thing, Rob.
Yeah. Are you going to talk about the playoff? Let's do it next week.
Okay, dude. We'll do it next week because I have a lot of opinions.
If we start talking about the playoffs, we'll go. Well, I guess
another hour
next week because that's Selection Sunday. All right. Who's gonna be in the? Because next year it'll be
12.
Yeah, we're gonna go 3 hours here. Who's gonna be in the playoff?
Michigan.
Now you can't do it next week.
Yeah, Michigan will be in the playoff. That's numero uno. Michigan, Georgia.
I agree.
They beat Bama. Oregon.
I agree.
If Florida State wins, they're undefeated. Do you put Florida State in into the tournament?
You have to.
Is Florida State better than Ohio State? Is Florida State better than Texas?
They're undefeated
in the ACC.
They're undefeated
without a Heisman Trophy contender quarterback playing.
So
does that matter? That's what I'm asking. I'm playing devil's advocate here. Does that matter?
Roadmaker would be 2-0
against Louisville and Florida. Florida's not even going to a bowl game this year.
2-0 is 2-0, Bubba.
Man, see, that's a tough one for me because
you cannot set the precedent of one guy got injured, the team's not good. You can't.
Yeah, you're true. So Florida State goes in if they win.
Yeah, they're undefeated.
Those are your 4. Florida State gets absolutely waxed by Georgia or Michigan. Whoever's number 1. I think Michigan's number 1, Georgia's number 2. Actually, Georgia will be number 1, Michigan will be number 2 because Georgia will beat Bama and everybody loves Alabama.
I don't know. Michigan's not stealing signs anymore, so maybe they're not as good as they were.
They haven't been stealing signs the last 4 weeks, and they've still been putting it on people.
Yeah, but who have they played besides Ohio State?
Ohio State. It's all that matters.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was quicker than I thought.
They beat Penn State. Now, if Florida State is to lose, then we got ourselves a cluster.
Does Texas make the playoffs just because they're Texas?
Yeah.
If they beat Oklahoma State by 50, if they go 57-7,
and Oregon beats Washington,
Big 12 teams, and Oregon beats Washington. Well, I would say if Washington beats Oregon,
whoever wins that Pac-12 championship is in my mind. Whoever wins that Pac-12 championship game is in the playoff.
Yeah,
because Washington would be undefeated; they're shoo-in. Oregon wins, they should be in the playoff.
So Iowa beats Michigan. Louisville beats Florida State. Who's in? Bama beats
Florida State's not in. Georgia's in.
Still?
Yeah.
Bama beats Georgia?
Yeah,
so
Georgia's still
Alabama
in.
Are both in.
Yeah, Georgia's still in. Bama's probably in, which means Texas is in.
Michigan
and whoever wins Washington, Oregon is in.
So Michigan's out if they lose?
Yeah, because they lost to Iowa.
TCU lost last year in their championship game. They're still in.
And then they went to the national championship and got boat raced. Boat raced.
I do not envy a 4-team playoff committee. I'm so glad it's going to 12. But yeah, that is a brutal. There are some brutal things that can happen this weekend. And I think if Louisville wins, Texas can probably get in. Chris, On the starting line, chat line says Texas needs FSU to lose. They absolutely do.
It's true. Yeah.
And
There's a lot of people that need FSU to lose. Ohio State needs FSU to lose.
Yeah, Texas needs Georgia to win.
Yeah.
And Florida State to lose. And then maybe
wouldn't Texas be better off if Alabama won? Because Texas beat Alabama. Then Texas should get in over Alabama.
Yeah, but they're not leaving Georgia out.
So then Georgia gets in and Alabama doesn't. I don't know what to tell you.
No, if Alabama wins, they're in. But it'd be Georgia and out. They only have one loss.
Alabama's going to jump from 8 to
Does Alabama have 2 losses?
Alabama's 11-1.
They only lost to Texas.
Yeah, their only losses to Texas. They have no SEC.
They
went.
Yeah, they go undefeated in the SEC. They win.
Should have lost to Auburn last week, but
if they go undefeated in the SEC, they're in.
Yeah, that's fair.
They beat Georgia.
Yeah, that's fair. Because they beat LSU. They beat Auburn, who's not very good. They beat Ole Miss. They're going to beat Georgia if they beat Georgia.
Yeah. But Georgia,
Go Dogs.
Georgia undefeated would be in.
Yeah, Georgia's the number 1 seed if they beat Alabama. Yeah.
Right. No, but undefeated regular season Georgia, even if they lose to Alabama, they're in the playoffs.
So both of them are in.
Yeah. If Alabama wins, you have 2 SEC teams.
Do you put them at 2 and 3 and make them play again in the first round of the playoff? Just because you're like, you know what, screw it, let's do it. Number one is Michigan if they win the Big Ten, and number 4 is either Texas or Oregon if Oregon wins the Pac-12. If Washington wins the Pac-12, they have to be in. Have to be because they're undefeated.
Yeah.
So then that screws Texas.
Going back to what you said, the Pac-12 champion is in.
But if Oregon and Texas both win and Alabama beats Georgia, doesn't that Texas win over Alabama serve a bigger purpose than Washington or Oregon's only loss being to Washington, but beating them in the conference championship? Here's the dilemma, man, because Texas, I think, deserves it more than Oregon at that point because Alabama is in the playoff. Washington would not be. Alabama beat Georgia, who was then number 1, right? Texas is the only team to have beaten Alabama. So that means Texas has to be in the playoff.
So Oregon wins
over Oregon.
Texas over Oregon.
If Alabama were to win.
So yes. Texas, Michigan.
If Georgia wins, then if Georgia wins, it would be Georgia, Michigan, Oregon,
Texas. This is a Florida State loss.
Texas, yeah. Florida State lost, Texas.
Yeah.
Oregon or Washington. Texas is in number 4.
If Georgia wins.
If Georgia wins. If Alabama wins, Georgia's in, Alabama's in, Texas is in, and Michigan's in.
If it's chalk, besides Louisville wins.
Yeah.
Everything else is chalk. It's Texas.
Yeah. If everything else goes to chalk, it has to be Texas.
What did they rank Texas this week in the playoff poll?
Texas is ranked number
6?
7.
Who's
right
7?
Above Alabama.
Bama 6?
Bama is 8th.
Who's 5?
Hold on.
I just
let me make sure I'm getting. I have the
playoff poll pulled up.
No, I have it. Yeah, here we go. All right. Ohio State is number 6, which they'll get jumped by both Texas and either Alabama if they both win their conference championships. So 1 Georgia, 2 Michigan, 3 Washington, 4 Florida State. Those are your undefeated teams.
Right. I'm back with
Oregon 5, Ohio State 6.
If those 4 win, they're in.
Yeah, those 4 win, they're in. It's pretty easy. Pretty simple math there.
Yeah.
But
have you ever had a fully undefeated playoff?
I don't think so. I don't know that you have.
So Texas can obviously jump Florida State and Oregon if they lose, or Washington if they lose. But how do they jump Ohio State? They're not playing.
How does who jump Ohio State?
Texas, because they
win their conference championship. Ohio State didn't play for a conference championship.
Why did they put Ohio State 6? They should have put
because they lost to their only losses to Michigan, who was ranked number 2, and Ohio State was ranked.
If Michigan wins, Ohio State could argue that they should be in.
That's fair, but the committee takes a big chunk of what they decide on conference championships. Like if you don't play, that's true.
Some people say it's decided before conference championship weekend. It can't be this year, though.
It can't be, because if Florida State loses, then all hell could break loose. If Washington loses, the same thing could happen. But I think it's interchangeable with Washington and Oregon, because I think even if say Georgia, Michigan, Florida State all win, Washington loses to Oregon, Oregon's in the playoff over Texas. Correct? Because that would mean Alabama lost to Georgia. How did Alabama lose to Georgia is a key there. But I think Oregon goes in over at Texas because Texas didn't beat a team in their conference championship that is ranked in the top 10.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State's ranked number 18. That doesn't help Texas. And Texas's only loss on the year is to Oklahoma, who is not even, they're ranked number 12, but they're not even in a conference championship, which is crazy, because they screwed up and lost to in Bedlam.
So I just got DM'd, maybe you did too, graph of the playoff implications. I can't even go through. I have no idea what's happening here. Iowa obviously has no chance at the playoff.
No.
But Iowa can create chaos.
Very much so.
If Alabama wins, Louisville wins, and Iowa wins, Washington is the 1 seed. It would be Washington, Texas, Bama, Georgia. If Washington wins, Bama wins.
So basically the gist is if Alabama wins, Georgia and Alabama are both in, and then you have 2 slots left.
Yeah. Now hold on. If Michigan, Oregon, Texas, Louisville, and Bama win, Georgia's out.
How does that work?
Because that's, you know what? I don't really understand that. There are 3 scenarios.
And who came up with these scenarios?
I don't know. This is just a graph that was sent to me.
Lubbock Yanero sent it to us.
They make sense to you. Yeah, they make sense to me. Yeah. So there's a scenario where Florida State wins and they're not in the playoff. You ready for that one?
Yeah.
Bama, Texas, Washington, Michigan. If those 4 win, Florida State's out. So Texas would jump Florida State.
How can you say that Florida State, and you even said this a moment ago.
You say you. I'm just saying this is the thing.
No, I know, but I'm asking if Florida State is undefeated. And I asked this question too, playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
If Florida State is undefeated, how can they be left out of the championships or out of the playoff because you think somebody's better than Florida State? Now, do I think that Texas and Oregon are better than Florida State? Yes, I do, without Jordan Travis. But if Florida State beats Louisville, should they be out of the playoff? They're ranked number 4. How can you move down after winning a conference championship and going undefeated? What else can you possibly do? They've done everything they needed to do. Florida State beat LSU earlier in the year too. That's a good win. LSU is ranked number 13 in the poll with 3 losses, which means LSU is a good football team, according to the College Football Playoff Committee. 3 losses and they're ranked number 13. Arizona is the only 3-loss team ranked in the top 15. And they're ranked number 15, and Arizona's got some good wins.
Yeah. Hey, I'm saying Florida State, they're in if they win, I think.
Yeah, you've convinced me if Florida State wins, they have to be in. That's my thing. How do you move them down from 4 if they win? You can't. Texas isn't going to beat a better team. Texas is playing number 18. Florida State's playing number 14. Texas is ranked lower than Florida State. So Texas couldn't get in if Florida State wins and be above Florida State. Like, that wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah.
If anybody's going to jump Florida State, it would be Alabama. if they beat Georgia.
You would think, yeah.
But then if Florida State wins and Michigan wins and Washington wins, I could see Alabama jumping. Perfect. I could see Alabama jumping Florida State at that point because they would have beat Georgia, who's number 1. And Alabama's only loss comes to a number 7 Texas, who's going to jump Ohio State after they win the conference championship.
Yeah. All right. So you see this. This is the left half is Washington wins. The right half is Oregon wins.
Yeah.
And then it goes down. This is what I was trying to say. It's just insane.
It's a cluster.
Yeah. But you see those. Let's see. So starting at the left, Georgia. Starting at that 5th one.
Yeah.
There's 2 there that Florida State's not in. And one of those is a Florida State win. That is Michigan, Washington, Texas, Alabama.
See, and I think that's the only one, is if Florida State wins, Georgia loses to Alabama, Alabama can jump Florida State.
Yes.
Because they beat Georgia.
Yeah.
And then if Washington wins,
why is
they're in.
3 and Bama
I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. Texas would not be in that scenario for me.
Yeah.
For
now,
me,
this is not from the committee. This is just some guy.
No, this is some guy, doing. But
now this
I just think
you can't see my mouse.
No,
I'm trying to.
Do you have a teleprompter? Do you like a highlighter you can use?
I wish. Yeah. What? Okay. So which one of these do you want?
I want Oregon in more than Washington because I like to watch Oregon play more than I like to watch Washington. I don't think Penix is as good as Bo Nix. Bo Nix is going to win the Heisman Trophy.
And it seems if Oregon wins, they're in, because there's every scenario here. Oregon is in if they win.
Yeah, if Oregon wins, they're in. I completely agree.
This is if Washington wins, they're in.
Unless the only way
options there where Washington loses and they're in. There's no chance to.
No chance that Oregon doesn't jump Washington if Washington loses.
These Oklahoma State win ones are crazy.
If Oklahoma State wins, then it doesn't matter.
It looks like there's a couple options. If Texas wins, they're still out. If Florida State, Georgia, Washington, Michigan win.
Yeah, if those 4 win, then Texas is out.
Right.
Outside looking in.
Because they're undefeated.
Yep. I just don't think that a 1-loss team.
So how does this column
can jump a undefeated team?
Yeah, some of these don't make sense.
Unless it's Alabama beating Georgia. That's the only scenario that anybody gets in. The Alabama and Georgia are in the playoff together is if Alabama wins.
In column 5, row 3, that should be Florida State, not Texas.
Column 5, row 3.
That should be Florida State.
Yeah, because Florida State would have won.
Yeah, they'd be undefeated.
Yeah, they'd be undefeated. Yeah. There's no way Texas gets in over Florida State. Unless Florida State, if Florida State wins. The only person who can jump Florida State, in my mind, and tell me if you think this too, is Alabama.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only way Florida State doesn't make it.
If Alabama makes it and Texas doesn't, that would be insane for them.
I would love it.
Oh my God, the meltdown.
It will be immaculate, especially going into the SEC.
Okay, that's what I want
next year. Yeah, Alabama to beat Georgia.
But I don't want Georgia and Alabama. I just want.
Well, if you want Alabama to beat Georgia, that's going to happen. Georgia's going to get in.
No, there's hold on.
Georgia's in. I don't know unless they get boat raced by Alabama.
4 from the right. You ready? Or all the 4 from the right. Florida State, Alabama, Oregon, Michigan. That's what we want.
Florida State, Alabama, Oregon, Michigan.
That would be a hilarious playoff. That would be
Georgia's not in it at all.
Yeah, and neither is Texas. That would be a hilarious playoff.
Yeah, it would be.
See, Brent, what college football playoff would be best for the sport? I don't know. I don't like.
That's hard to say.
I don't like that question because that is like the Texas Techs don't matter for the sport.
Yeah.
Because it's only good if blue bloods are in. But I think just personal enjoyment, man, if Travis was still playing, I definitely want Florida State in there, but based on what I think could be good games, I don't
Florida
know.
State, Georgia will be if it goes like it is right now, 1-4, Florida State, Georgia would be a blowout. Georgia will blow Florida State out of the water. I don't care who you have at wide receiver. If you have a freshman quarterback that can't get it to those wide
You
receivers
want
and he panics and pees down his leg with the Georgia defense coming after him. He peed down his leg with Florida's defense.
Yeah.
Think how much he's going to pee down his leg with Georgia's defense coming after him.
You want to
They're
hear
the best
something?
defense in the country.
You want to hear something, Carson?
What's that?
I think if Texas gets in the playoff, they can win.
I do too. I think they're good enough to win a national championship. I really do. Which stinks for me to say, but I 100% think their defense is good enough. I think their defensive line is right up there with how good Georgia's is. Texas has maybe the best,
incredible.
Yeah, the best defensive line in the country, I think, at Texas.
Yeah.
Their offense, Quinn Ewers, is one of the best quarterbacks in the country. It stinks they don't have Jonathan Brooks in the backfield, but they have Xavier Worthy on the outside. He's one of the best receivers in the country. Yeah, Texas has every single piece of the puzzle to win a national title.
I think Oregon,
if they make it to the playoff.
I think Oregon and Washington would also get the doors blown. I don't think they'd be competitive in the playoff.
I think Oregon will be more competitive in the playoff than Washington.
My brain is still Pac-12 broken that they're just good because they beat each other.
Oregon offensively is better than Washington offensively, and Bo Nix is a better quarterback than Penix.
They only scored, I don't know. Texas Tech just played Oregon so well and had 4 turnovers.
It was also the second game of the season. Third game of the season. Whatever it was. Second game of the season, yeah.
Yeah.
Oregon had to come on the road. You're in some crappy confines in Lubbock in the new scenario here. So I don't put too much into that. Oregon is playing really good football right now. Bo Nix has looked absolutely electric in his last few games. I really do think Bo Nix is going to win the Heisman.
How in the hell? I know how it happened, but Dan Lanning just went full simple jack there on the end of that game against Washington. There's no way Oregon should have lost that game.
No, Oregon should be undefeated. Washington should have a loss.
Man, I know you hate Michael Penix Jr., but
I don't think he's good. No.
Yeah.
He's definitely not top 4 in the Heisman for me.
Oh, man. Who is? Marvin Poe. If you could only send 3, if you could send 3 to New York, who'd you send?
Bo Nix, Marvin Harrison Jr., and those are my top 2. I don't really think anybody else has.
What?
Who else am I?
Jalen Daniels.
Oh yeah, Jalen Daniels. My bad. My LSU guy.
Incredible.
I was looking at this list in front of me, and LSU wasn't in front of me. Yeah, Jalen Daniels is really good, but I think Bo Nix. If Bo Nix wins the Pac-12 championship, I think a lot of the Heisman Trophy voters will vote for Bo Nix over Jalen Daniels.
You just bought into the billboards, man. Bodacious.
Now, don't get me wrong. I think Jalen Daniels is.
They put up a Jalen Daniels billboard in Vegas.
Did they really? Good for him. He deserves it. Jalen Daniels he's on a team that's not a conference champion. And a lot of the times now we've seen it in a couple of years where it hasn't been conference champions that or playoff national title contenders.
Only lost to Florida State and Bama and
Florida State.
I said that. Florida State, Bama, and who else did LSU lose to?
Florida State, Bama, and Ole Miss.
And Ole Miss is 11.
Yeah.
And this, I don't know. I think that would be an RG3 type Heisman.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Nix is there.
But didn't RG3 win the Big 12 that year? He won the Heisman. It would be more of a Johnny Manziel type Heisman.
No, RG3.
Johnny Manziel didn't win the SEC West.
But they were 10-3. RG3 was.
Yeah.
They lost 3 games. I think Johnny lost at least 2.
Yeah, Johnny won 10 games the year he won the Heisman.
Yeah. Yeah, but Jalen Daniels will play in a bowl game. They win 10.
Yeah.
10 with a bowl. All right.
No, I forgot about that. Jalen Daniels is Bo Nix and Jalen Daniels are the top two in the Heisman Trophy race. Depending on how the voters, the Heisman Trophy winners and sports writers vote, it'll be interesting because will they vote for a guy that wins a conference championship and that's played really well down the stretch, or are they going to vote for the guy who's the most athletic quarterback that we've seen since Michael Vick?
I retweeted that chart we were looking at, by the way. So if people want to go look at it on Twitter, that's from Lubbock Yanero.
Yeah, I can't believe I forgot about Jalen Daniels now.
Yeah, Jalen Daniels, but he would be my third, and then I would just take 3. I don't think there's a
fourth. I mean, Penix would be the fourth guy.
Travis maybe at Florida State,
but Jordan Travis didn't play the last 2 games.
Right. I mean, Quinn Ewers missed a bunch of time.
Yeah, he missed 3 games.
He hasn't been Heisman worthy. He's just been a bus driver.
Ollie Gordon would be the only other guy that you could say is worthy of going.
No,
but even Ollie Gordon isn't up there. Blake Corum would be a name that some Michigan people have been throwing out on Twitter. I've seen,
maybe, but
Blake Corum has been hurt this year too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's just a 3-man race, and really, I think it's a 2-man race. It's Nix and
quarterback award.
Jalen Daniels. Yeah,
it's a quarterback award.
We've seen a couple wide receivers win it lately.
Recently, yeah. I think Marvin Harrison has a chance.
Marvin Harrison has a chance, but I don't think he has a chance over Jalen Daniels or Bo Nix because, again, Bo Nix is going to be a conference champion. They will beat Washington. He's going to have a great day. If he throws for 5 touchdowns against Washington, Bo Nix is going to win the Heisman Trophy because who's not playing this week?
Ollie Gordon rushed for 1,500 yards. I think a running back. I think a running back would have to rush for 2,000 yards.
2,000 plus
in today's game to get there.
I agree with you.
Duran Bradley to the portal. Yes, we mentioned that earlier.
In our first hour.
First thing we talked about. Yeah.
We're 2 hours into this bad boy.
I know everybody's not watched the whole thing, but
yeah,
a pretty good audience today.
Yeah.
Great chat line today.
Great chat line. Yeah.
Incredible chat line today. It's been great.
Yeah. The starting line chat line has been phenomenal.
Thanks for hanging with us there on the starting line chat line. We are in the Diversified Lender Studios, too. Brock Bowers, since he had surgery and came back like a week later, a tight end is never going to win the Heisman.
No, Brock Bowers is a machine, though. He's going to make a lot of money at the next level.
He can win. He can win the Mackey Award.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing like a 2-hour Rob Bro show. We're in the marathon now today.
That's right. It's a marathon. We got started talking about recruiting, and then it just, anytime when Bro and I used to have a 2-hour show,
and we would burn so much, and then we'd try to talk for something for about 10 minutes at the end.
And you'd have breaks in between. We're like, we don't need our breaks today. We're trying to talk about recruiting and the transfer portal and all those things. And then you start talking about, college football playoff scenarios, and you can literally go for days of talking these things until you're blue in the face, and then at some point you're not going to be right about any of it.
You want to do it? You want a fact of the day since we're doing that?
Yeah, since we're going back old school. Yeah.
A shrimp's heart is in its head.
That's why it tastes so good when you suck the heads out of crawfish too, huh?
Yeah. I don't think I said shrimp, not crawfish.
Oh.
Of the potential CFP teams, who has the best defense?
Georgia.
Let's see statistically. NCAA stats.
If Iowa was there, I'd say it would be Iowa, but Iowa's not there.
Women's volleyball.
Here, I have stats.
Oh, this is not. I want to go to teamrankings.com. Those yard per play numbers.
LSU leads the country in total yards per game. Oregon is
defense. Defense, not
I know. That was the first stat that popped up. Defensive leaders. Michigan is the defensive leader in points allowed per game at 10.3 points per game.
Yeah, that's Big Ten.
That's Big Ten football, though. Yeah. Texas actually has a better defense. Oregon has a better defense on paper. Then Texas. Georgia has the best defense out of any of them besides Michigan. Georgia has allowed 294 yards a game, 294.3.
That LSU offense is insane. Their defense is so bad.
Georgia's only allowing 15.8 points a game. Oregon's allowed 15.9. Texas has allowed 17.3. Florida State 16.8.
Michigan, I would say Michigan has the best offense, the best defense, 4.3 yards per play.
They're number one in the country in a lot. Yeah.
Nebraska. Now hold on. Yards per play. Okay, ready for this? Penn State, Iowa, Ohio State, Michigan.
Yeah.
Nebraska's 8th in the country. That's just the Big Ten sucks, right?
Offensively, in the Big Ten. Offensively, the Big Ten's not good.
So Michigan, 4.3 yards per play defensively. Oregon is at 13th, 4.7 yards per play. Georgia and Alabama at 4.7. Texas, 4.9. So all of those, Florida State, 4.8. So they're all under 5 yards per play. They're all in the top 25 defensively.
Mm-hmm.
But Michigan's at 4.3. So that's all a half yard.
You look points per game, the top 4 are Big Ten schools as well. Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, Iowa.
So that's crazy.
And then Georgia, that's why I say Georgia's the best defense in the country, because they play in the best conference in the country. Now, not the best side of the conference in the country. Obviously, they play in the SEC East. But they're giving up 15.8 points a game as compared to Michigan's 10.3 points a game, which we both know doesn't matter because Michigan was giving up about the same amount of points last year per game and lost to TCU in the semifinal. And then TCU gave up 68 points to Georgia, and Georgia only gave up, 10? How many did TCU end up scoring? I forgot. Yeah. Didn't matter. But, yeah.
Michigan, Oregon, and Texas, and Georgia, Florida State. Hold on, let me say that again. Michigan, Florida State, Oregon, Texas, Georgia are in the top 10 of points per play. All less than 0.26 points per play. They're all really good defenses, is really what we're saying here.
Oh, you got an update. Roy asked where LSU's defense is on that scenario. Down. They're way, way, way down. They're not even
so bad on defense.
Yeah, I can't even find them right now.
They are so
Texas Tech is giving up less points per game than LSU. Texas Tech gives up 27 points a game. LSU gives up 27.8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go look. I'm going to find Texas Tech yards per play because I love that.
Yeah, find Texas Tech's yards per play because it's not on the stats that I have
Oklahoma, right here. 5.3 yards per play. Texas Tech, 5.5 yards per play.
So every 2 plays, you're giving up a first down. It's not good.
67th in the country.
It's not a good average.
Better than Kansas, Arkansas, Auburn, UCF, Texas Christian. Kansas State is at 85. Still LSU 99th, 5.9 yards per play.
Oof.
Florida 124th Cincinnati's the worst Power 5 team at 129th, 6.6 yards per play.
Ooh, they're bad, man.
North Texas, 6.5 yards per play. They're not very good defensively
either. Just because it's a trivia question, Power 5 team that gave up the most points per game this year. I'll give you a hint. They're in the Pac-12.
Colorado.
Close.
Who is it?
Stanford.
Oh.
37.7 points per game that Stanford gave up. Colorado was the 4th highest points per game in Power 5. All three of the lower 4 were our Pac-12 schools. Then you have Vanderbilt, who we both have talked about doesn't count in a Power 5. Vanderbilt should just choose to be in the SEC and everything but football. Like, go play in the Conference USA in football.
Oh, we didn't talk about Kansas offensive coordinator leaving. Leipold has never coached a FBS game without Ketelecki as his offensive coordinator, or however you say his name.
Where's he going?
Penn State.
James Franklin rolling the dice.
Great choice. I love the Kansas offense as much as I love the Texas Tech one.
Do you think Jalen Daniels will follow him?
81st yards per play.
Jaden Daniels, not Jalen Daniels.
Texas Tech, by the way, offensively. Jalen.
Yeah, it's Jalen from Kansas, right?
Will he follow his offensive coordinator? Depends who Kansas hires. I don't know.
Be cool if he did.
Yeah. On one hand, it would be really funny for Texas to win the national championship as a Big 12 school.
Just on their way out, just help the Big 12 out, and then the SEC can't claim it at all.
The Big 12 claim it forever.
Mm-hmm.
It would be really funny. I don't want that to happen,
but then Texas would have the national championship to rub in everybody's faces too. So
yeah.
Yeah.
If you want those advanced stats, by the way, teamrankings.com. It's fun stats.
Only FBS team worse than Baylor this year was Vandy. They were 109 and 110. Not surprising. And if you want to talk about hot seats, Dave Aranda is.
In what metric?
Yeah, I don't know what metric, Royce.
There's a Team Rankings actually does a power ranking. It's kind of like the FPI. If you know what that is from ESPN.
The football power index.
They have the Michigan, Ohio State as 1 and 2. Oregon, Georgia, Penn State as the rest of the top 5. Texas, LSU, Alabama, Oklahoma, Florida State as the top 10. I don't know. Kansas State 12th doesn't make sense to me. Washington down at 13th. This is based on schedule and everything else.
Yeah.
So maybe it's remaining schedule, but there is no remaining schedule. Texas Tech 43rd.
It's better than I thought they'd be.
Yeah, me too. Baylor 83rd. Cincinnati worse. So looks like the worst Power 5 team according to teamrankings.com is
Stanford.
I thought North Texas was better this year. They finished 5-7.
Yeah.
Their
first year in the American Athletic didn't go as well as UTSA.
They lost to Florida International, which is a black eye on the program because David Yost scored 46 on them.
Oof.
And then David Yost, I don't think scored that many again in the year. Nope. That was their highest scoring output. David Yost, after North Texas, scores 24 in a win, 6 in a loss, 17-14 in losses, 33 in a win, 16 in a loss, 6 in a loss, 20 in a loss, 28 in a loss.
North Texas was the third worst defense in the country this year. So,
yeah.
As far as points per game.
Crazy.
But like I said, first year in the American Athletic Conference. They didn't have a great year their last year in Conference USA either. Last year, I believe. So, yeah, Eric Morris has some growing pains to go through for sure at North Texas, but I think he's going to be fine in the American. Obviously, Jeff Traylor had a little bit of a leg up. UTSA was in a better spot moving to the American this year. But I think Eric's going to be just fine at North Texas, no doubt about it. I think it's a great spot for him to be as a head coach. He was great at Incarnate Word as well. Took Incarnate Word, won their first Southland Conference championship at Incarnate Word. GJ Kinney came in behind him and won another one, and GJ Kinney turned that into the Texas State job. So both he and Eric Morris both are kind of on the same trajectory as far as where they're coaching. I think GJ Kinney might be a little higher on the meter as far as how hot are these young coaches, as far as what bigger schools are going to be wanting later. I don't know that Eric Morris is ever going to be a Power 5 head coach, but I think he can fit very well at a North Texas or a job like a Tulane, like where Willie Fritz was, and then Eric Morris could turn that into something. Who knows? But I like where he's at right now at North Texas. I think he's going to do good things at North Texas, to be honest with you. So he's in a good spot to recruit as well.
Jacob on the starting line chat line said just hopped in, so I don't know if you talked about it. We did talk about this, but not like this. Jeff Traylor more likely to be the head coach at Houston or the OC at A&M. He's more likely to be a head coach at anywhere than the OC at A&M.
OC, yeah.
Wouldn't go backwards.
No.
Now, A&M would be an incredible haul to have Elko and Traylor both.
That talk about an offensive just brain power meeting right there. Those two of the best offensive minds.
Elko's the defense.
Two of the best coordinating minds in college football on each side of the football, and that's where I was going with it. Thank you for seeing. It's been a 2.5 hour show.
I know what you mean.
But you're talking about Elko on the defensive side, Traylor on the offensive side. Just make them like co-head coaches, and then you might have a deal. But I don't see that happening.
Is that out there?
It might be wishful thinking on Aggie's parts, but
that would be a dream at A&M.
I don't know why
it wouldn't last long if they won, though.
No, I don't know why why Houston wouldn't give him the job. Like, it just doesn't make unless he. Oh yeah, Willie Fritz took the job. I know, but it just didn't make sense to me why Houston. He's going to take the job.
One of them will.
Yeah. I don't know. It just didn't make sense why Jeff Traylor wouldn't be number one on their list. And maybe they were like Texas Tech and offered him the job and he said no. I don't know. That just seems like the job you would want as an ex-Texas high school football coach. Especially, I mean, he was at Gilmer for all those years. Gilmer's not far from Houston. It's not close, but it's not far. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense why Houston wouldn't hire Jeff Traylor.
Because it makes so much sense.
Because it makes sense to hire Willie Fritz?
Yeah.
That's fair too.
No, it makes too much sense to hire Jeff Traylor.
Yeah, and Fertitta's not the one that makes a whole lot of sense. So
who's the Houston AD? I can't remember his name, but
Who cares? Fertitta runs the athletic department. Doesn't matter.
Apparently there's some discord there.
Shocker there.
Between Tillman, Fertitta, and the administration. That's what happens.
Yeah, that's what happens when the guy throws a bunch of money around.
Let's see. We might as well try to get to 3 hours, huh?
Fair enough.
The Dallas Cowboys played last night. Beating the Seattle Seahawks. First win over a team above 500. Of course, they dropped to 6-6 after the loss to the Dallas Cowboys, but I thought that was the Cowboys' best win. McCarthy is a moron. They win in spite of him. And Dak just keeps producing, man. Dak's playing like an MVP.
Oh, no.
He is.
Okay.
He is. I'm not saying he's going to win MVP. I'm just saying he's playing MVP caliber.
The Cowboys, to be the MVP, you got to win your division, Rob. And the Cowboys aren't going to win their division.
I say he's playing like an MVP.
Okay.
I didn't say he's going to win the MVP. The Cowboys are scoring like 40 points a game. It's insane. If they beat the Eagles at home, which they can, I don't know if they will. I mean, keep pace. You're 9-3, 8-3, 9-3, whatever you are now. What was that? 6-6. It'd be 12 games. So you're 9-3. Jordan Brooks got a sack off Terrence Steele, and then Jordan Brooks broke his ankle. I think something happened with his ankle. He had a big ice bag on it. I mean, Dak has the stats, man. Go look at the stats. Dak has MVP.
I'm not saying he has the stats. I misheard what you were saying.
Yeah.
That you're saying he's playing like he's going to win the MVP, and he ain't going to win the MVP.
Yeah. Yeah, Brent, we talked about that, Bradley.
That's why I put a laughing emoji on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the thing too is Dak plays in a division where there's one team that is really good. The rest are garbage.
What does that matter?
So it matters. You
Mahomes,
play your division.
Mahomes has played against dog shit his entire career. He wins MVPs.
Patrick Mahomes does not play like an MVP this year, though.
I didn't say he did.
Okay. Well,
I said
I'm just
Denver
saying.
and Vegas have sucked for 6 years.
That's fair. And the Chargers haven't been great in the last few years.
Aaron Rodgers won MVPs with. I mean, Tom Brady won MVPs with dog shit. That doesn't matter. I mean, the Dolphins and the. Yeah, you're just trying to denigrate the Cowboys, and I get it, but
you got to win to win an MVP. I think you have to win your division, right? In the NFL, like I don't think that's a stipulation by any means, but it sure seems like the best player on the best team is who wins the MVP versus the actual most valuable player.
And it's a regular season
in the league.
I get it.
Yeah.
Trying to look.
I mean, the Cowboys are going to be a wild card team, so because the Eagles.
Who leads the league in passing? You ready for this? Just yards.
Passing yards?
Yeah. Give me the top 5.
Tua Tagovailoa, is he up in the top 5?
He's number 5. We've been talking about one of them.
Who else throws it? Dak Prescott.
Dak's number 3.
Let's see. Josh Allen wouldn't be up there because
Josh Allen's there.
Is he there? He's in the top 5 for passing yards?
Yeah, 3.
Wow.
3,200.
You'll
never get the other 2.
What division do they play in? AFC or NFC?
One's in they're one of each.
Oh, that doesn't help either.
NFC East, AFC South.
NFC East. Jalen Hurts, is he in there? No? Okay.
And it's not the Giants quarterback.
Oh, it's Sam Howell.
Howell.
Yeah, I remember them saying that in the Thanksgiving game. Yeah.
And then the last one's the AFC
Washington has to throw the ball because they can't run the ball.
And they're always 20 points behind.
Yeah, they're always bad. The AFC South, you said?
Yeah. I've said this year this guy's better than Dak at times.
The AFC South. Trevor Lawrence.
Nope. He's a rookie.
A rookie in the
CJ
AFC
Stroud.
South. CJ Stroud. Okay, thank you. Yeah.
All right, Dak.
I forget about CJ Stroud. He's really good.
3,200 yards, 7.9 per attempt, 26 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. Sorry, leading the league in touchdowns, by the way, and very low in interceptions. Based on Jalen Hurts has 10 interceptions, by the way.
I don't think Jalen Hurts is that great.
Completion percentage. Only trailing Brock Purdy in starters. Brock Purdy has 70.2%.
Brock Purdy throws a lot of check down routes.
Yes, and Dak throws downfield.
Yeah.
There's a world, by the way, you said it, but by the way, there's a world where Brock Purdy wins the MVP, and that would be hilarious.
I just don't understand that. How Brock Purdy could win the MVP.
That would be hilarious.
It would. Good story for him.
Yeah. Geno not in the top 5. Purdy not in the top 5. No. People were guessing in the comments.
Purdy doesn't throw the ball down the field enough to be in the top 5.
No.
If you ever watch Brock Purdy play,
that's my bad.
Yeah. If you ever watch Brock Purdy play, he checks it down to
Joe's good.
McCaffrey all the time.
Stroud is legit.
CJ Stroud's going to be legit for years to come.
Yeah.
The only thing that hurts him is he plays for the Houston Texans.
The Texans, hey, the Texans might be onto something.
I sure hope so.
Are you ready for this? The Texans are what the Jaguars could have been 8 years ago if they didn't have Blake Bortles.
Oh.
They have a young core.
Yeah.
With that defensive backfield with D'Amico Ryans head coach. The Texans are dangerous, man.
You weren't a Blake Bortles fan?
I am buying stock. No, I love you know this. I love the Jaguars. I was high on the Jaguars before anyone else was. And they went to the AFC Championship.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
then
they did.
I went to the Browns because I thought they were building something special. And then they drafted Baker Mayfield, and I got off the Browns. I thought that was a terrible draft pick.
It was.
Anyways,
It was a bad one.
You go back to the Texans. They have all of those draft picks because they fleeced the Browns for
lots of money and lots of picks.
I mean, the Texans
got a chance.
They might make the playoffs this year.
Here's my question. Offensively, I think you're fine, right? Like Tank Dell has been fantastic this year as a rookie, along with CJ Stroud. Those two guys together are going to be what Mahomes and
they're 6 and
Tyreek Hill were for Kansas City. And why Kansas City got rid of Tyreek Hill, I will never understand. Why you get rid of a game breaker like that? Because, well, we got Mecole Hardman. We got all these other guys. Screw that. Tyreek Hill's he's by himself. He can beat a team.
They picked
with Patrick Mahomes.
They picked Chris Jones.
Yeah, I know.
Is what happened.
But
go ahead.
And you're seeing that right now. Is Patrick Mahomes is a good quarterback, but you can't be a great quarterback if you don't have good wide receivers to go along with it. Yeah. And they lost the game the other night because wide receivers can't catch passes. That's at least 2 or 3 games on the year. Yeah. Drops have killed the Kansas City Chiefs.
Dude, you know who the Texans should thank?
Who's that?
Bill O'Brien.
Yeah.
He was
for sucking so bad?
No, he was 10-6 in his last year.
That's fair.
But well, I guess he got fired the next year.
Yeah. In the middle of the year.
But I will say this. He made a bunch of those moves that cleared the Texans to be able to tank with Crennel, Lovey, and Cully.
Bunch of cap room.
And he traded off Hopkins for a second-round pick. I wonder who that went to. I don't remember.
No, they'll be, and the thing for the Texans is with all these picks, you said it that they got for the Browns. I think offensively you're fine. You might want to, in free agent wise, you can solidify your offensive line a little bit more, but I think they're fine there too. Defensively, you said it. You have a defensive coach, and D'Amico Ryans, obviously. I think you draft defense heavy this next year, and you hold other teams to a least amount of points you possibly can. CJ Stroud's going to win you a bunch of games, man. He's going to win you a bunch of games. He's so athletic, and so the maturity that kid has in the NFL already, like his presence in the pocket, for a kid that's so athletic and a guy that you would think that wants to get out of the pocket so badly and use his feet, he doesn't that much when he doesn't need to. And I think that's the sign of a mature quarterback in the NFL versus a kid who is really athletic in the college game, made a bunch of plays on the run. He's phenomenal, right? In the college game. Would that translate? Has that translated to the NFL a whole lot? No, it really hasn't. Jalen Hurts has been on good teams. He's looked good at times, but I don't think Jalen Hurts is a good NFL quarterback. He's a
good NFL quarterback.
He's a good NFL quarterback. That's what he's not a great.
He's in the right system.
Right. He's in the right system for him. CJ Stroud is the kind of quarterback that can build a franchise around. Kind of like what the Kansas City Chiefs have done with Patrick Mahomes. That franchise
already built. The Chiefs are already built.
Yeah, the Chiefs were already built before Patrick Mahomes got there. The Houston Texans need to build a little bit more.
They're building around the Jaguars are building around Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence, and why not? Trevor Lawrence is one of those guys you can build. I think Trevor Lawrence and CJ Stroud are very similar in the way that they play the football game. I really do. I think CJ Stroud's arm talent is up there with Trevor Lawrence and those kind of guys.
They got Stroud and Will Anderson in the top 2 picks last year. That's so crazy.
That's crazy, right? Will Anderson's a game changer on the other side of the football.
And they traded this year's one to get back up there. So the Cardinals have the Texans' first-round pick. But the Texans have the Browns' first-round pick.
First-round pick, yeah.
Which the Browns, I think, are 7-4, so.
Yeah, you'll get to pick in the middle. 15, 13 or so.
Of course, I don't see the Browns. I don't know how they're winning.
Defense.
Stefanski might be a good head coach, man.
He might be. We obviously we figured out that Doug Peterson's a pretty good head coach.
Yeah,
because of what he did in Philadelphia with a quarterback who he shouldn't have been able to win a Super Bowl with, and Nick Foles.
yeah.
And then
And
now
it was great with Carson Wentz, who sucked up.
and Carson Wentz is not good, not good.
Is he still in the league?
Yeah, he got picked up by the Los Angeles Rams, right? A couple weeks ago.
Did he?
Whenever Stafford was hurt. Yeah. Pretty sure he got signed by the Rams. Pretty sure I remember hearing that on the
for the Rams. Yeah, did he play?
I don't know that he played. No. Joe Flacco starting for the Browns on Sunday. Is that true? Or is Brent just lying again?
I did see something about Joe Flacco this week, but yeah, he's starting for the Browns, yeah.
Joe Flacco. How old is that guy now?
Is Joe Flacco elite?
He was at one time.
That was the whole thing, man.
He was for a couple of years there for Baltimore, wasn't he? I mean, you can't. Yeah.
Joe Flacco is 37.
Yeah.
He went to the Ravens in 2008.
He's old enough to be Patrick Mahomes' backup.
Yeah,
that's the requirement to be. That's the requirement to be Pat Mahomes' backup. You got to be 35 plus. That way, it's not in any way, shape, or form a detriment to his job if he gets hurt and you come in and just tear the world up, put the world on fire.
Was Flacco
like Henny did last year?
When did they sign him?
When did who sign the Browns? He was a free agent early in the year. I know that.
Sign him this week.
Either this week or last week, one of the two.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Flacco to start versus Rams on Sunday.
You could in Stafford, I'm sure, is playing this week, but you could very easily have seen Joe Flacco playing Carson Wentz. How bad would that be?
When was Joe Flacco on the Eagles? That's what I want to know. He's pictured here with an Eagles jersey.
Maybe he got picked up in the preseason. Might have been. When you get to be that age, you just start playing and getting signed by every team every week.
Cashing checks, baby.
Right? Yeah. Cashing that minimum league check, and feels good to cash checks.
Okay, all right, you ready? Ravens 2008 to 18. Broncos 19. Jets 2020. Eagles 2021. Jets 21-22. So there's some overlap there. And then the Browns 2023. Where did he go to college?
Joe Flacco?
Yeah.
Do you want his first school or his school that he graduated from?
The one he got drafted out of.
Delaware.
Go
Blue Hens. You know where he went before Delaware?
Pittsburgh. I just saw.
Attaboy.
I wouldn't have known that before.
Liar.
I said I wouldn't have known that before.
Oh, you wouldn't have known it before. Okay.
I knew Delaware, but I didn't know Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
On November 20th, 2023, Flacco was signed by the Cleveland Browns. So the 20th of November.
Yeah. Do you know what Delaware's helmets look like?
Fleecing. Blue and yellow?
They look like Michigan's. Just a lighter shade of blue.
And yellow.
Yeah, it's the same color of yellow, I would assume. Maize. But
kind of the good pit colors, the Rams.
Yeah. They copied the Michigan Wolverines a little bit.
Oh man. All right.
Blue Hens are an FCS program.
Are they now?
They still are. They were when Flacco played there as well.
All right. Everybody's going back to work, man. I think we're
Roy did say hear about the Longhorn found dead in the OSU frat house. Yes, we did.
Yes.
Still not sure what that means, but
so allegedly, do you know everything, Carson?
Not really.
Allegedly, if you quiz
SID's kid.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you quiz Carson on mascots or things like that, then he's pretty well handled it. Y'all hear about the Longhorn found dead in front? Yes. So from what I can tell, that is a frat on frat violence and not anything to do with the Texas Longhorns.
Texas.
Because it said F the word. I don't know if I can say that. Family show.
Family show.
I mean, the FCC is not on YouTube, but
we still don't.
FH being farmhouse.
Farmhouse.
A local frat there at Oklahoma State. So allegedly, nothing to do, but still killing Longhorns is crazy.
Yeah, that's doing anything to a stock, a piece of livestock like that, and not using it for the purpose that it was put on this earth for is.
And it was found in front of.
I'm sure there's going to be some sort of investigation and probably some charges filed once they figure out who did it and
100%.
where they killed the cow from. Because unless it was someone's property that they killed, like their own cow,
right,
steer, whatever it might be. I guess if it was a longhorn, then it's a steer. Then yeah, if they killed someone's property and did that's a felony in a lot of states, especially in these states such as Oklahoma and Texas, where farming and cattle ranching are big business. So if you took one off of a rancher's farm, then that's grand theft. That's right up there with grand theft auto. and then that's animal cruelty
by death.
Yeah, that's animal cruelty. I think there's still a law that says that you can be hung in the state of Texas for stealing a man's horse and killing it, or something like that. But yeah, it's
all right.
It doesn't happen.
And this is going to push us over 3 hours.
Yeah, I'm definitely an attorney.
Top 10 quarterbacks in the transfer portal according to On3.
Okay.
I'm going to start at 1.
DJ Uiagalelei.
Cam Ward.
Oh, from Washington State. That's fair.
Will Howard, number 2.
Oh.
Riley Leonard from Duke, who is going to Notre Dame, allegedly.
He's going to go to Notre Dame. He's a graduate transfer already going to Notre Dame for grad school. So, yeah.
DJ Uiagalelei. Tyler Van Dyke from Miami. He's number 5. Will Rogers, number 6. Max Brosmer from UNI, number 7. 8, Grayson McCall, which I have no idea how he's still playing. 9, Max Johnson, who's going from A&M to North Carolina. Do you want to guess who number 10 is?
Number 10. Have you said the Moore kid from UCLA?
Nope.
I don't know. Tyler Shuck.
Yes.
Yeah.
I forgot. Shuck, top 10.
Yeah.
Interesting. I was never in on Tyler Shuck. I like the guy. He almost had me when
he almost got you to buy in
after that press conference against Oklahoma, and then he was just a badass against Ole Miss. He almost had me, man, and then that Wyoming game just killed it all.
Fair enough. Yeah.
If he would have beat Wyoming, he would have hook, line, and sinkered me.
Yeah. I think he would have done that for a lot of the Texas Tech fan base, to be honest with you.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I don't have any animosity toward Tyler Shuck. I think he's a fine young man, but he's not a good quarterback.
Where do you think he ends up? Back on the West Coast where he's from? Now, I'm thinking he could end up at Arizona State, because he's an Arizona kid, and then that would put him right back in the Big 12.
Arizona State would make sense, and you play them next year.
Utah.
Cam Rising's back. I don't think he'd go to Utah.
True. Cam Rising is coming back next year. Took his red shirt this year. Does he go to Oregon State or Oregon? Back to Oregon? He didn't go back to Oregon.
Oregon State makes sense.
But Oregon State has a freshman quarterback. That's why DJ Uiagalelei is leaving as well.
No, Uiagalelei is leaving because they were not.
Well, because and he's going with his head coach somewhere. But
yeah,
to Michigan State most likely.
That was a fake post, I believe, that said he was going to UCF.
Yeah, I don't think there was any real.
You have to watch out on the transfer portal. There's a lot of news out there that's not real.
If On
I
3
did
or
see,
somebody like that doesn't put something out there and say it's real, then I wouldn't believe it.
but check the handle because there's a lot of fake On 3.
Yeah, there's a lot of fake On 3s. Yeah.
I would say UCF fits him a little bit, but
Does it though? Because
Timmy McClain is better than Tyler Shuck, isn't he?
yeah, doesn't John Rice Plumlee have one more year?
If he does, then Shuck's not going to beat out John Rice Plumlee.
No.
So,
and John Rice Plumlee wants to play in the NFL, according to the interviews that he did before the UCF game against Texas Tech. So
does Tyler Shuck.
John Rice Plumlee is not an NFL quarterback.
Neither am I.
We can both agree on that.
Yeah,
that neither one of us.
Yeah, that's something that us, John Rice Plumlee, and Tyler Shuck have in common. We're not NFL quarterbacks. Who does Tech bring in to back up Morton?
That's a great question.
I would love to see somebody come in.
Will Hammond is coming in, but he's a true freshman.
Right now, it's Will Hammond.
I don't want to see him playing next year.
I don't know if you get a Power 5 transfer in, but I would get a quarterback. I said that earlier. I would get some quarterback.
But it's not a guy.
Whether that's a JUCO, like a McLean guy.
Yeah.
McLean Carter.
Mm-hmm. Former Gilmer Buckeye there.
Is that his name?
Yeah, McLean Carter. Yeah. Left-hander.
From
Tyler Junior College.
Tyler? TV?
Tyler Junior
Trinity
College.
Valley or Tyler?
He went to Tyler.
Okay.
Pretty sure. Yeah. He's from Gilmer. That's where he went to high school.
Yeah.
Played for Jeff Traylor in high school, actually.
I wouldn't mind getting the top 10 quarterback and having him come in and compete with Morton if he wants to.
Would you not?
Why would I mind that?
I mean, that's fair.
Morton got hurt in his first start.
But if you pull a kid like that out of the transfer portal, doesn't Baron Morton put his name into the transfer portal?
It's a risk.
Wouldn't you see it that way, though?
That's a risk I'm willing to take.
That's fair.
I love Baron Morton. I think he could be a great quarterback here. But the fact of the matter is, he got alligator rolled and hurt his ankle in his first start against Oklahoma State, and then in his first start against West Virginia, he sprained his AC joint.
It's fair. Out of those top 10 quarterbacks, obviously number 10 is Tyler Shuck. Yeah, so he's not coming. Who is on your list? Like top
Will
three?
Rogers.
Will Rogers from Mississippi State.
Cam Ward.
If Cam Ward came to Texas Tech, I could definitely have him start. I could see Cam Ward starting over Baron Morton. I'd be just fine with that if Baron Morton left and Cam Ward's in town. He's got 2 years of eligibility left.
Does he?
Or just one? I think he has 2.
Yeah. Where's Malik Murphy going? I have no idea. He's not in the portal
he's not in the portal yet. I don't know that he will portal because next year will be Quinn Ewers' last year at Texas.
Yeah, but you have Arch
Manning. Arch Manning, I think, will go in the portal before Malik Murphy, to be honest with you.
You think so?
I think there's been some talk around Austin that Arch Manning has been talking about going into the transfer portal. And if he does, I think Arch Manning ends up at Ole Miss or somewhere like that.
Tennessee.
To be quite honest, Tennessee, Ole Miss. And that's not even because of Peyton and Eli's, ties to those universities. Just the fact that he fits in Josh Heupel's offense and he fits in Lane Kiffin's offense really well.
Yeah. Does he?
I think he fits
I'm not sold on Arch Manning.
I mean, I'm not sold on Arch Manning either, especially at the University of Texas.
Yeah.
I just don't think he sticks around.
Yeah. To be fair, I don't. Also, back to the Morton thing, I don't think anybody's coming in like that.
Man, it'd be cool if Cam Ward did.
I think
you got me going now.
Yeah, I think Morton is the starter next year, and I love Baron Morton. I think he's a really good quarterback with a tremendous arm talent, and was a warrior this year playing through an AC sprain. That I wish he didn't have to play through.
Yeah,
I wish he could have taken. He didn't practice the second half of the year.
Right. Yeah, and there was
and played well.
3-4 weeks in a row he did not practice.
I don't think he practiced.
Even late in the year against UCF, the game before UCF.
I don't think he didn't practice against Texas either.
That's fair. It didn't look like anybody practiced the week against Texas. Like I said, though, sometimes it happens. Texas is a really good football team, man.
Yeah.
They're just that much better than you are. It's sad to say for a Texas Tech fan, but if you take your hat off and just look at it as a realist and a college football fan. Now, I don't know that Texas is 50 points better than you every night, but you can play that game 100 times and Texas beats you 100 times this season. If you put these two teams against each other, Texas wins 10 times out of 10, 50 times out of 50, however many times you want to do it.
We said that last year. We said that last year that Texas probably wins 8 out of 10.
Yeah, but this year it's 10 out of 10.
You just got lucky last year.
Yeah, and Quinn Ewers didn't play last year.
Yeah, and Xavier Worthy got hurt.
Yeah.
And Bijan Robinson, the all-world running back, fumbled in overtime.
Yeah. And they didn't have that defense.
They had the beginning of that defense, but it certainly is better.
But not the one they have this year, yeah. No.
Yeah, certainly better.
Texas is a really good football team.
Yeah.
And we said that in the before the year started, that Texas is a really good football team. They're the best football team in the Big 12. And I didn't think it was close. Losing to Oklahoma is a fluke for me.
Yes.
That game, the Red River rivalry, is just one of those that it never ceases to surprise you in how a team is going to play in that game. It's just a different beast of that week. But if Texas were to play Oklahoma again, Texas would beat Oklahoma by 3 touchdowns. I think they'll do the same thing to Oklahoma State in the Big 12 championship game. Texas is a really good football team. And Dylan Gabriel played the best game of his life in Dallas that day. And that Oklahoma defense played the best game of their lives in Dallas that day. They haven't been very good ever since. So, Texas is very good. And like we said, if they get into the college football playoff, they've got a real shot of winning a national championship. Because they're good enough to do it. They really are.
Yeah, I agree.
They really, truly are that good of a football team. And as much as Texas Tech fans don't want to admit it, Texas A&M fans don't want to admit it, Texas is one of the top 5-6 teams in the country. And they could very easily deserve to be a top 4 team and be in the playoff.
Yeah.
So.
All right. The starting line chat line.
3 hours, baby.
3 hours and 10 minutes. 3 hours of us. Probably won't go 3 hours again, but it was fun today. If you want a marathon stream to catch up on that, I guess I had enough to talk about because we didn't do a Gambling Gauchos this week because of some circumstances.
There you go.
The Gauchos will be back on Sunday. And we'll be back on the Rob Rush Show Monday for Overreaction Monday. Carson, you're free to join.
Fair enough.
All right. We'll see you then.
Peace.